Great to see you as well. Yolanda, Tana, good to see you. Ella, great to see you. Jesse, great to see you. MTV Franny says, let's debate. You're welcome to come in and debate MAGA if you'd like. What's up, Nolan and McCandles and JD and Corey? How do you feel like these 4 years are going to be like, in your own opinion? Probably really bad for the country as a whole. Bree, great to see you. Bree like the cheese. It's a fun name. It's a fun name. What's up, Shaw? What's up, Shaw? Sierra, thank you so much for everything. Sierra, thank you for everything. Thanks for being here, and thanks for continuing to fight. That's what matters. It's continuing to fight. Listen, do me a favor. What up, Steven? Great to see you. And Chanel, great to see you. And Steven, if you're just getting in the live, make sure to double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 100,000 likes super quickly. Fill up that entire bar when it comes up. Fill it up once, twice, maybe 3 times. What's up, Riel? Good to see you as well. Make sure to do that. Helps boost the live. Send it out to more people. And of course, spam those shares down there. Drop a follow if you haven't already. You know the drill. What's up, Gabriella? Great to see you as well. I appreciate you guys going crazy on the gifts already. But you guys know the drill. You guys know what we're doing here. If you've been here before, we are talking to MAGA. We are talking to Trump supporters. Why on earth did people vote for Donald Trump? I don't know. We literally just started the live. So if you're just getting in here, make sure to double tap the screen. People are saying rip Parker. I hope that does not mean that he got banned. I hope that doesn't mean that he got banned. But we'll carry on forward. Jeff, I just invited you if you want to come up. Parker just got dropped. Oh my God, bruh. Let my guy live, man. He just hit 1 million today, by the way. Everybody, if you go to Parker's live, if he's back again, just make sure to congratulate him for hitting 1 million followers. That's a hardworking guy right there. But if you are MAGA, let me know. I'll bring you up. Or if you voted for Trump, let me know. And we'll talk. And you can tell me, did Trump cheat? No. It was fair. He won fair and square. Let's give Sam an invite. Here comes Sam. Also, Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. Sam, did you vote for Donald Trump, my man?
I sure did, Harry.
What state did you vote in?
Indiana.
You voted in Indiana, okay. So why'd you vote for Trump, man?
I voted for Trump because I'm excited to see what the next 4 years are going to look like with the economy.
I've talked to you before, right?
Yeah, we've talked a couple of times. I'm coming in peace tonight, though. I know it's been a tough week for Democrats. I just want to ask: are you surprised by the results? Is this something that I definitely, like watching it, thought she would win the popular vote? I did not think he would do as well in the popular vote or the electoral college, but I just want to know if you're surprised, and B, what the plan is moving forward to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again for you.
Yeah, I don't know if I was surprised. I think it was always a 50-50 election. It was always kind of close. And the election was close. 150,000 votes in 3 states combined decided the election. So,
Sorry.
What?
It went close until she told some people when they tried to came, she said, you're in the wrong rally. That's what wanted for her.
It was still a close election, my man.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, that's fine. But to Sam, in your response, in my response to you, it was a close election. So it wasn't like I think Trump's popular vote lead now is down to like 2.2%. It's not a blowout, but we're going to regroup and then plan accordingly.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I watched the election. I tried to watch on a source that, typically I would watch Fox News, but I think I ended up watching CNN or MSNBC. But what do you think? I guess I'm just struggling to understand the Democratic playbook, right? Like, obviously Biden didn't have a very good first debate. There was a plan. Something happened, right? Strategically, the Democratic Party said, we've got to pull this guy. He's not going to beat Trump. Kamala was put in his place. I hope I said that right. Kamala was put in his place, and she didn't fare very well. there were other candidates out there I felt like that obviously could have done better. Shapiro, Gavin Newsom. Oh, sorry, I couldn't tell if you were waving at me or not.
No, it's the lighting. Keep going.
Gavin Newsom, Shapiro, Pete Buttigieg. Like, what lessons have the Democrats learned from this election? There's got to be something. There's got to be a takeaway from you all about how this election was ran. And then this may be a two-parted question, so you can tell me to pause. But obviously, you're very passionate about how you feel about Trump and the people that he hangs around with and what the direction the government's going to go in. But I just want to ask, like, you, Harry, Dean, Parker, Chris ran a very kind of smear campaign for the last 6 months on Trump, his character, the people that support him. The American people overwhelmingly elected Donald Trump, not only in the popular vote, but also in the Electoral College. So what do you say to all the people that support him, and why are they backing him if she's so great and he's so terrible?
So I wouldn't, first and foremost, I don't think that another candidate would have won. I think that the result was very much baked in. Like, I don't think that if we would have ran Shapiro or Buttigieg or Newsom, the results would have changed. I think Trump still probably would have won in hindsight. But also, I don't understand what you mean by we ran a smear campaign. What have I said about Trump or Chris or Dean or Parker that is false?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're as bad about it. I really wanted to have the opportunity to go up on Parker's live and Dean's live, but they've been very busy. You all have been very busy, so I appreciate the opportunity to come up on your platform and speak. But there's just been a lot of very divisive rhetoric. It feels like maybe not so much you. You've always been polite to me since I've come on your platform, but it just feels like anyone that votes for Trump is an idiot, that Trump is this terrible human being that should never have ran. There's almost just like a less than kind of attitude towards people that support Trump. And I just want to know if this election is a wake up call for you all. If you all need to change anything internally, the conversations that you're having, or what your thoughts are of this coalition of people that came to support Trump, because I'm looking at it and I'm blown away by the numbers. Like, I'm seeing in some polls, we have 30% of African Americans supporting Trump. 50% of Latinos support Trump. You've got a coalition of white and middle class Americans. Like, this is a coalition. This is a realignment of people that we've never seen before. It's shocking, but it's also not. So I just want to know what you all are going to do, knowing that there's been this huge alignment to get voters to come back to some of the talking points that you all have.
Yeah, I don't think that I wouldn't call this an overwhelming victory. Again, as I was just saying, like, only winning the, he won the popular vote. I think it's down to 2.2%. It's going to keep going down as California counts more votes. And it's not like he flipped traditionally blue states. If he flipped some traditionally blue states, like Obama in 2008 was a overwhelming victory because he flipped states like Indiana and states like Florida and whatnot. But this was not like overwhelming, right? So he won, but it wasn't a destruction. But I also don't think that it's helpful to stop telling the truth about Donald Trump. Like, he is a felon. He is a proven sexual abuser. He is a proven fraudster. He has been indicted multiple times. And I think it's fair to call out people for overlooking that stuff. And so plenty of people voted for him. I understand why people voted for him. I still think that they're wrong, even if they voted for him. That's the beauty of America. But I'll still talk to these people all the time. I don't think that if you voted for Trump, I'm not going to talk to you. You're evil automatically. Like, I do this all the time. So I'm going to still tell the truth about Donald Trump, still talk about who he is, what he does, how bad he is. And I'm still going to talk to his supporters. And if his supporters are interesting people to talk to, I'll have good conversations with them. If they're conspiracy theorists, I probably won't. And that's the plan.
So you said that he won states that were not overwhelmingly blue, but he won Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada.
Yeah, they're swing states.
No, they're not, though. The blue walls.
But they are. Obviously they are. Like when I say traditionally blue, I mean, like, he didn't win like a New York. He didn't win like a Virginia or a Colorado or an Oregon. He won the swing states. We all knew that they were the 7 swing states. He won all the swing states, which is it's a good victory. It's a good victory, no doubt. But he didn't win a solid blue state or something that was just completely out of left field. This was a perfectly reasonable possibility, and it happened.
Yeah, but he won every single swing state. Like, it was like they were saying that it was so close, right? There was polls that were showing that she was leading, and again, like, Alan Lichtman is this huge like predictor of elections, and he even got blown out of the water. This guy that's elected, I don't even know, maybe 9-10 elections. He got the Gore v. Bush wrong, which I'll give him that. Maybe he got that actually right. But all to say, like, this was an overwhelming election that proved that the American people are tired of being called racist. They're tired of being called homophobic. They're tired of being called things that they should. Yes, they are, Harry. That's been the whole.
Nobody's calling you racist or homophobic or anything.
Not me specifically, but they're saying that Trump is, and they're saying that the people that support Trump are. But more than
I don't know. Can you who is this? Who's saying this?
I mean, Harry, like, are we really going to go there? Because I've
genuinely, who's saying it? Like, I don't call people that. I know Dean, Parker, and Chris don't say that generally about Trump supporters. Like, who in the Democratic Party, like top elected officials or leaders in the party,
Joe Biden
are saying that?
Called 50% of people garbage. I mean,
no, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, if you look at the official record of
everyone, a basket full of deplorables.
If you look at the record of what he was talking about, there's an apostrophe in the record, and he was calling the speakers at Trump's MSG rally garbage, which I would agree that they are. Do you disagree? Do you think that the guy who called Puerto Rico garbage is a good person?
I don't think he's a good person. I don't think that comment. I was like, when I heard that comment, I was like taken aback, because I'm like, this is a political rally. It's not a comedy show. Like, where does this person feel like this is appropriate to add that? So that's something that truly took me back. And I was actually, one thing that you guys have always brought up is like, Trump never apologizes for anything that he says. But one of the things that he said was like, this guy does not represent our campaign, which was actually surprising to see that come from the Trump administration.
Well, of course he was going to distance himself because it's politically advantageous. But you know what the Trump campaign didn't do? They didn't veto his speech. They got his speech beforehand, and they left all the jokes in. I believe there was a watermelon joke regarding people of color in there, and there was the Puerto Rico comment. So the Trump campaign and the Trump team reviewed his speech, said that those jokes are okay, let him go out there, and then disavowed him later. It's all politics. It's not because Trump is suddenly a changed man and he apologizes for bad things. He did it because it helps him.
Yeah, and I think, looking back, there's no place in politics for comments like that, right? Like, those are divisive, hateful comments. But I want to go back to the conversation though earlier that I had about the coalition of people that are voting for Trump. Obviously, those comments were nasty comments. However, people still in large numbers that represented that. Trying to find the right word here. People that would be offended by those comments still went out and voted for him in large numbers. So how do you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were, in the globe around the world, we've seen a lot of anti-incumbent elections. So in Great Britain, in France, and now the United States, a lot of incumbents have lost, and that's because a lot of people were angry with the post-COVID, economic problems, immigration problems that were occurring around the world. So this is pretty in trend with what's happening around the world. And I think probably could have been expected. It's just kind of what's going on right now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on the country. But again, I'm happy to continue to talk to these people. I hope that Trump doesn't mess it up so badly. I hope that we succeed. I don't want us to fail, but unfortunately, I don't think that's likely.
Yeah, I want to ask you too. One of the things I noticed the last couple of days is the incoming administration's been getting a lot of calls. Trump took a call with Zelensky, with Musk. He also took a call from Xi Jinping. Hamas has said that they want to end the war immediately. I know one of the talking points that you all had before the election was that the world would be less safe.
Correct.
With a Trump presidency. but now we're starting to see our adversaries are making phone calls, A, congratulating the president, and B, saying, hey, let's have conversations, let's talk. So I'm curious, if Trump is this guy that allows people to run all over however they see fit, why are all these world powers calling Trump, and why are people asking to come to the table and have conversations about fixing problem X, Y, and Z?
So that happens literally anybody's elected in the United States. When anybody's elected president, after their election, they talk to world leaders around the country. This happened in 2020 with Biden, in 2016 with Trump, in 2012 with Obama, in 2008 with Obama, and so on and so forth. This happens every single election. And also, Hamas has been calling for a ceasefire for quite some time now. This is not because Trump got elected. They've been saying that they want to end the war for a very long time now. Russia hasn't suddenly said that they want negotiations, they want to end the war. They, back in September, before the election obviously even happened, they were saying that they want to negotiate. But this is just Putin being Putin. He's full of shit. So when Putin says something, it's probably best not to believe him, because there's obviously no efforts to actually get the war done. So there's nothing in the past couple of days that's happened that's been out of the ordinary and because of Trump's election. Matter of fact, I'd argue that Trump has even already broken a promise, because he said he would be able to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours, and he said he'd be able to get it done as president-elect. And I'm looking at my watch, and it's been a couple of days now, and he hasn't gotten the war done, finished. So,
yeah, I mean, that's definitely a far reach to say that he would get it done within 24 hours, especially when you're talking about three sovereign countries, if you want to include the U.S. But we'll see what happens. I mean, there may have to be some succession in land, or I don't know. We'll see what happens, but
we shall.
Yeah, I mean, I just it's interesting to see what will happen, but all to say though, I was just curious kind of what your thoughts were moving forward on if there's anything that you're looking forward to seeing from a Trump administration, and if there's any regrets that the Democrats have after this election cycle.
Nothing that can come to mind. Nothing come to mind. But anyway, we'll leave the conversation there. I appreciate you coming up. You're welcome to come back, of course. Yeah, I appreciate you coming up.
All right. Have a good evening. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. All right, everybody. Venmo, Cash App, link in bio. I appreciate y'all. If you're MAGA, let me know in the chat. I'll bring you up. Yo, JW, I appreciate the $15 on Venmo, my man. Help me feel hope again, Harry. I'm scared about all the cabinet members Trump is naming. Is frightening. I hope you're a good dude. Protect your peace. Yeah, I made a couple videos today about Trump appointments to his cabinet for the EPA and his border czar. So, not good. Not good at all. Not good at all. So anyway, we just got to keep fighting, JW. You know that, my man. Kate, thank you for the $3. We love you. Kate, I love you too. I love you back. Alexa, thank you for the $25. Fighting the good fight. Thank you for being you. Alexa, thank you for being you as well. This is a team effort. This is not. This isn't a lone effort. It's not just me. It's not just you. It's not just anybody. It's all of us together. Remember that. So anyway, if you are MAGA, you voted for Donald Trump. Come on up. Tell me why. Tell me how on earth you did. Why you did. That's, goddamn insane, man. It's crazy in my view. All right, let's give Bryce an invitation. MVR. Let's give him. Oh my God, what the hell is Chris? Chris is texting in the group chat right now. What is this guy talking about, bro?
Hey, what's going on?
Hello,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sweet. Cool. Yeah, I saw your video with Steiny from the Nuck Boys. It was pretty cool, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I mean, my biggest thing with Trump would be his policies on immigration. Most so specifically that I live in Europe, so I've lived in 6 countries so far, and I can just kind of compare different countries based on the amount of immigrants they have, based on their cultural differences, things like that. So one example would be like Poland. I live in Poland for 7 months now. And obviously Poland has really little to no immigration here. And it just feels a lot safer, right? They have a lot of pretty strict immigration laws that prevent people from coming in. They have they have a border wall. Obviously, it's a very, very safe country. So my biggest comparison would be America's policies on democratic cities and how they're actually overran with immigrants and things like that. It just obviously, I don't think it's healthy for the country, especially in culture aspects and things like that.
Do you like hear yourself? You know, you're
Yes.
talking about the United States, right? We are a country of immigrants. We quite literally, I'm sure you're not a Native American, right? So your family it comes from a line of immigrants. So suddenly we're a country of immigrants. Immigrants make the United States the country that we are. And then suddenly we're overrun and they're terrible and it's bad for culture. Like, do you hear yourself? Do you have any like historical understanding of where the United States came from and how we came to be?
Yeah, there's a big difference between back then and nowadays, though.
Why? What's the big
obviously, we
difference?
were a country made from immigrants, of course, but nowadays it's a whole different story.
Wait, what's the different story? Because we recognize that today immigrants coming in and filling American jobs helps our economy, it helps our GDP, it helps population growth, it helps move us along. The reason the United States is the strongest economy in the world and has been for some time is because we welcome in immigrants. Poland's not really rivaling us right now for a global strength, are they?
Well, it's also a country of 50 million people compared to 300 million people.
Yeah,
so
exactly. And imagine if Poland had more people, just generally. Imagine if a country has more people to work on more things and produce more stuff, makes them better. So,
you're right.
But you recognize that the immigrants that are coming into the country right now are benefiting America, at least in the long term. I mean, the Congressional Budget Office has found that because of the surge in immigration, our economy is going to be $7 trillion bigger, and our federal revenue $1 trillion more over 10 years because of this unexpected surge in immigration. You're saying this is a bad thing?
No, I didn't say that. I do agree, obviously, that we bring in, the most immigrants out of the entire world. I do agree with that. I'm almost a million a year, I believe, legal immigrants. And obviously, my point is here is not immigration is bad, right? Obviously, immigration is completely necessary for the economy and it grows the economy. But to an extent, when you look at countries like Sweden, Germany, France, these are all countries that have had huge amounts of immigrants coming to the country, and it's not working out too great, right? They have some of the highest crime rates in Europe. Right, the sexual assault in Sweden after having mass immigration went up, I think, by 4 times. Right, so my point is when you take in a culture of people from a certain country and then allow them into a different country in huge amounts, right, it can have negative effects on the population. The streets aren't as safe anymore. Obviously,
are you saying that's the case in the United States?
In some situations, yes, I do believe so. Right, because when you have so many, obviously from countries where immigrants are coming from, there's a lot of problems there.
Wait,
right?
Can I stop you for a second? I just have a Reuters article here saying no evidence migration caused exaggerated 2013 Swedish grape statistics.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have evidence to suggest that the increase in migration did that?
Obviously, if you talk to Swedish people, you'll understand that.
Wait, hold on. Do you have evidence to suggest that migrants were the cause for that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of different articles and statistics ran by the government.
So
like majority of the violent crimes are caused by immigrants in Sweden and in Germany.
Really? Wait. Where are you getting this data though from? You can't just
I don't
say
have
that.
an
So
exact
go ahead,
source,
back it up.
but I'm sure if you Google it, you can find the government statistics. Like majority of the crime is caused by violent crime.
Why don't you look that up? By the way, shout out everybody coming from Parker's Live. I appreciate y'all. Is he coming here? He's not in the box, so maybe he's not. I don't know. But shout out everybody coming from Parker's Live. Hi, everybody coming from Parkers. Make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. You know the drill. Can this lighting fix itself? Still waiting on the. If anybody's just getting in here right now, this guy says that. Yeah, what's up?
Sorry, I was talking to you, but I think I was talking to myself because I was.
Yeah, we can't hear you when you go off of live.
So it says, I have a political.eu article that states that 15% of the population in Germany is immigrants, and then 43% of the crime in 2023 was attributed to immigrants.
I was asking about Sweden and the assault statistics.
Okay, so I mean, Sweden, I have to look into it. I looked into Germany, but obviously that's a good comparison because both of those countries took in immigrants from the same country. So if you have a good comparison in Germany, you can obviously
I don't think it's a good comparison because you're making a very specific claim that in Sweden, a certain crime was caused by migrants, and that's what happened. That's why it went up. But there's just no evidence, from my understanding, that immigrants were the cause of assaults going up. I mean, that's the claim you made.
So I'll give you that, obviously, because I don't want to have to hop off the live and find a source. But in general, then we can remove that and say the sexual assault one. Probably got to be careful with that word on TikTok. But obviously, in general, though, like I believe that, as you see in Germany, according to my source, that obviously 15% of the population committed 41% of the crime, which that is a political.eu source. So that's what I saw in the first thing that I Googled. But obviously, like that's not only from the sources, but my own personal experience, because I've been to Germany, I've been to Sweden, I lived in Poland and different countries. I kind of see as a whole when I talk to girls and guys, and you can tell that, like, for example, in Germany, right, sometimes girls in Berlin are terrified to walk in the streets at night, right? Same thing in Paris.
It's because of migrants, not just because there are bad people in Germany that are German?
I do believe it's because of migrants, 100%.
What the hell?
Because
Also,
when I
I'm
walk
looking at
around
this-
in Poland,
I'm looking at
when
this
I walk
right
around
now.
in Warsaw, it's different. Everybody walks home safe. Girls are not afraid to walk out. So then tell me why that is a direct comparison for
Yeah,
higher
because
violent crimes.
what you said, Berlin,
Paris, same
Berlin
thing,
and Warsaw
obviously.
are two totally different cities.
Yeah, they're obviously the comparison is that Poland.
Do you
has
really
no
think that
immigrants.
migrants are the only thing that differs Warsaw and Berlin?
The crime rate?
I mean,
yes.
that's like so stupid. The idea that's so stupid. Also, I'm just looking at this right now. I have some articles here. I think from the same article you were citing that actually most suspects committed are crimes by repeat offenders, and only 1% of migrants account for 40% of migrant crimes. So it seems like a lot of the people that are committing these crimes that are migrants are repeat offenders. There's like 1% of people who are really, really, bad folks. But it's not the overwhelming majority of people who are migrants are committing crime. And that's also not consistent here in data in the United States.
Yeah. Okay, so I do have another source as well. It's from the German Federal Police Chief or something like that. So that state, hold on, let me see the statistic really.
Remember, we can't hear you when you're off the thing.
Yep. So I mean, it says the same thing, that 41% of obviously the crimes are committed by 15%, and it also says there's been like a 14.9%.
But what kind of crimes are we talking about here?
In general, just broad variety of crimes in general.
Yeah, but that obviously matters, right? Like if a migrant, steals a pack of Skittles from a grocery store because they're starving and they're poor, I don't think that's an outrageously bad crime. So what kind of crime are we talking about here?
Sure. I mean, from my personal experience, like just talking to people, right? Like my defense of it is
that's nice, but like anecdotal stories don't really tell the full story. You agree?
But obviously, you just can use a little bit of logic, right? So let's just say majority of the immigrants in the European Union are coming from, I don't know, Syria, Pakistan, right? Those types of countries where generally the culture is less protective of women, and they obviously there's a reason why they're leaving that country in the first place, right? There's some type of problem there. It's not the way it is. It's not clean. It's not safe. That's why they escape those countries to go to different countries. The problem with that is they bring that same culture to the new country they're in. For example, if we have a bunch of Syrians and you put 50,000 of them in Berlin and you mix the cultures together, now that can a little bit endanger the population of Germans who are used to being able to walk around at nighttime, because now there's 50,000.
This is like racist garbage, my man. The idea that if you just grow up in Syria, you're from Syria, and you get placed into another country, that those people are automatically unsafe. That's just like racist crap.
That's
my man.
It's not racist.
Really? Okay, so do you think that if like a bunch
Syrians
of
are white people?
Wait, do you think
so
that
I
if a
don't know
bunch
what
of
your point
people
is.
do you think that if a bunch of people leave Germany and immigrate to like London, and now there's like 50,000 Germans in London, that London's more unsafe?
No, because Germans aren't relatively violent people, right? There's no.
How do you know that your average Syrian is violent?
Because there's a war there, and there's
okay. Just because there's a war in a country and regional conflict doesn't mean that every person from that country is violent.
okay. So
are Americans are all Americans violent?
Yes, absolutely. By violent. If you had a 500,000 Americans,
So wait. If you think that if you move like 50,000 average Americans, you just take random 50,000 Americans and you put them in London, London's more dangerous now?
London's pretty dangerous already. So
I'm not asking if you think it's dangerous already. I'm asking you, do you think if we took like random 50,000 Americans, like 1,000 from each state, and you just put them in London, that London would be more dangerous as a city.
Yeah, probably because we have some of the highest crime rates in the world in the cities.
That's absolutely insane.
I mean,
that's absolutely
so
insane.
let me ask you in a simpler term then, Harry. Like if we had a country, let's just say we had a country like that doesn't value like cleanliness, right? There's a lot of garbage. They throw trash on the streets, cigarette butts everywhere. That's just the culture. They never knew better, right? There's not a problem with that. It's not against their race or their way of thinking. It's just the culture that they're raised into. And let's just say I take those people who don't value the beauty or natural cleanliness of their country and I mass immigrate them in 50,000 to a different country. Don't you see that it could be possible that maybe they're going to bring some of those same old habits they have to the new country, right? Is that just such a crazy thing to see? Or
I think there can be differences in culture, but if, for example, Germany has laws saying, hey, you can't litter, and maybe they came from a war-torn country like Afghanistan, where it's just like the laws are kind of up in the air and you have Taliban rule. I think those people will adapt to the laws.
Okay.
Like the idea that they're like these animals that can't just like adapt and like learn and follow a country's laws is utter nonsense. This is just like xenophobic crap. It's just xenophobic crap. It's at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's that you have to try to justify some way to be anti-immigrant. And say that, if you come from this country, you're automatically going to do this, X, Y, and Z. It's so strange.
That was my point there. Obviously, can you answer yes or no? Like, do you believe that if I took those 50,000 people from a country that just throws trash on the ground, like you said, regardless of where they're from, the situation, right? I give it to them. It's unfair, right? The way they were born, I give it to them, right? And I see why they want more freedom. But do you see my point that maybe they could, maybe even in the start, maybe they'll adapt to it, right? But do you see how maybe they could, obviously trash the cities a little bit more, right? I mean, look at Paris. Look at Paris nowadays. Have you been to Paris before? I'm guessing you probably have.
I've been to Paris a number of times.
Yeah. And obviously, you can kind of see how that's not a very clean city, a very safe city.
Paris is a pretty clean city.
Paris is definitely not a clean city, brother. There's trash and garbage.
I don't know. I mean, I think any major city has more trash than like a suburb.
Okay, but obviously you can compare, Paris to maybe Denmark, right? You can compare it to Denmark. Denmark is an extremely clean city. Compare the two, right? Obviously, my point here is that obviously with immigration, right? I think it's good to have immigration, but obviously, like I said, I agree with you, right? I think most immigrants will adapt, as we've seen 100%. But when you take them in 400,000 or 50,000 at a time,
we're not saying do that. We're not saying just like take in a mass amount of people at once.
And I don't think we should.
How much immigration do we have?
I think America is really spot on with about 1 million per year. 1 million legal immigrants per year is a very good number to have. I think that boosts the economy. I think it does help the economy. And honestly, I really think it could be a little bit more because I feel like, majority of the immigrants that the filter system that we have is pretty good. A lot of them come in with education. A lot of them come here for better lives, and they really do want that. But when you start taking in, 18-year-olds from Afghanistan, military-age men who literally it's just a different story, right? Obviously,
are 18-year-old men from Afghanistan don't qualify for refuge?
Of course they do, but obviously you can't take in 100,000 of them and not have some type of negative effects.
We haven't taken 600,000 of them in 1 year. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, maybe we haven't, but my point is just being able to see different countries and like I'd see American cities. Why are American cities that are all democratically majority ran for past 30 years? Why are they so dirty? So many homeless people, so many violent crimes.
What are you talking about? Can you name a major Republican city that's Republican run?
I don't think there are very many.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. So you can't just be like, well, there's 100 Democratic cities that are dirty and they have trash, and there's 0 Republican cities. Why is that? You have nothing to compare it to. And also, we know this about cities. This is consistent in cities around the world, in major cities around the world, that there's more trash, that there's more homeless people in these cities because it's a concentration of people. And then, for example, New York City, there's not as much access to affordable housing in New York City, just like there isn't in London and in Paris as there is somewhere else in a more suburban area. There's affordable. You can buy, a mansion in Alabama for $100,000. $100,000, won't get you an apartment in New York City, right? So it's more concentration of people and things and we know that when there's more concentration of people, there's higher crime rates.
Okay.
Even though the crime rates in all these major American cities are actually gone down dramatically. So I don't even understand what your talking point is. And also,
my talking point is that obviously, there's
and comparing countries like Sweden and Denmark to the United States or Germany is nonsense,
right? I mean, let's just say, Harry, we have 2 cities empty, right? We have 100. I mean, you've seen videos and pictures of India, right? It's a shithole. There's a ton of trash.
Whoa,
everywhere.
okay. Yeah, you got to go.
Well, come on, why?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. You're good, bro. You're good, bro. You can head on. You can head on out, dude. You can head on out after that one. You're good. Just, very, very, very gross comments there. Apologize for that. Very gross comments there. Allison, thank you for the $1. Check my earlier Venmo. Oh, don't read aloud. Oh, I'm so sorry. I missed this, Allison. I apologize. I got you. One sec. Don't read aloud. I got you, Allison. I appreciate that. You got it. I appreciate that. It's funny, Allison. I appreciate you. Lee, thank you for the $25. I definitely appreciate your efforts this election season. God bless America. I'm praying for it. Lee, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. And thank you for the $25. That's incredibly generous. You're awesome. Riley, thank you for the $5. Thank you, Harry, for fighting the good fight. I appreciate you, Riley. Thank you so much. I appreciate you a lot. Michael, thank you for the $1. The mass deportation plan is so scary. I have family and friends so scared right now. It's so sad. I hope everyone who voted for Trump will be happy when families are torn apart from each other. Such a shame. I agree, Michael. It is really a shame. There's a lot of good folks out there whose families are just going to be torn apart, man. And JW, again, thank you for the $5. Did Bryce even vote in this election? If not, move on. That's a good point. Jocelyn, thank you for the $3. Thanks for all that you've done and what you still do. Jocelyn, thank you for all that you've done and what you still do. I mean, seriously, it goes a long way, and you're part of the solution here. Make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. And of course, if you're a Trump voter, let me know in the chat. I will bring you up and we can talk. You can tell me why on earth you voted for Trump. Makes no sense, man. Makes absolutely no sense. All right, let's bring up I invited Noah. Oh my God. I think that's, jeez Louise, bro. Let's bring up the drone way. Trump did nothing wrong. Wow. What a crazy username. Where's Chris? I don't know. I think he's probably off, not debating tonight. This guy says, stop dodging me. I pretty sure I know who that is. Pretty sure I know who that is. So we'll be careful about that. What's up? Fact checks. Are you vote for Trump?
Damn right.
By the way, Venmo, Cash App, and the link in the bio, everybody, if you want to support the live. You voted for Trump. Why?
I think he's going to do a lot better for the economy.
Why do you think that?
I don't know. I like his policies. And
so what are you going to say when things go up a lot more because of Donald Trump's tariffs?
Well, there's no way for sure to say that.
No, there is a way. No, there's a way. There's a way sure to say that. There's a way. Tariffs are inherently inflationary.
Why do you say that?
Because anytime tariffs are put into place, prices go up. So Trump put in actually a bunch of tariffs in his first term. And for example, in the washing machine industry, for every one job that was created, $850,000 were passed down to the consumer. In the steel industry, for every one job created, $900,000 were passed down to the consumer. It's incredibly inflationary every single time. We know this about
okay. So do you support Kamala's plan then?
I support Kamala's plan. Yeah.
Okay. So you support it then?
Yes.
All right.
Can I just read you some quotes here? CNN reports that Steve Madden announced Thursday that it would decrease its Chinese production by half to avoid Trump's tariffs, but it is not moving its business to the U.S. Steve Madden will be sourcing its goods from other countries, including Cambodia, Vietnam, Mexico, and Brazil. CBS News reports that AutoZone CEO Philip Daniel told Wall Street analysts at a September's earnings call, if we get tariffs, we will pass those tariff costs back to the consumer. We'll generally raise prices ahead of, we know what the tariffs will be, we generally raise prices ahead of that. In October, Stanley Black & Decker CEO Donald Allen Jr. said that his company has been planning for the possibility of additional import tariffs since the spring. So all of these companies are actually preparing to raise their prices on goods because of Donald Trump.
All right. So
and you think that's good?
I didn't say it was good. I'm just saying.
For it.
Okay. Can I finish?
Yeah, by all means.
I'm going to make it. Okay, I'm going to make a claim. Do you think, all right, and I want you to really think about this. Do you think that if we spend, like, it would be beneficial for the U.S. to spend less money, but to do something more?
What do you mean?
I'm meaning,
what
like,
does
do
that
you
mean?
think we should? Do you think we should spend less money?
I don't know. I think if we can find a way to spend less money but make sure that all of our programs are being funded, that'd be great. I just don't know if that's a reality.
Okay. All right. I want to know why it is that you think it was a good thing to flex by making a video that Kamala was outspending Donald Trump in her campaign.
What was that? Like, I think it was you used to call that a flex?
No, you call it a flex when you made a video saying that Kamala Harris outspent Donald Trump in her campaign.
I don't know if I was bragging that she outspent his campaign. I think it was talking about
you
fundraising.
did. You made a video about that.
Yeah, her fundraising was better than Donald Trump's.
All
Yes.
right. She fundraised like $1 billion, and now she's 20 million in the hole.
Yes, that's pretty typical in campaigns.
Why
Yeah, that's
is that
pretty
the same not
regular.
happened
She'll
with
be fine.
Donald Trump?
What was that?
Why has the same not happened with Donald Trump then?
Yeah, I don't know what Donald Trump's ending balance was, whether he had debt or not.
He
Donald Trump has
did not
Donald
have
Trump has a
any
bunch
debt
of debt
because he
actually
is
with
able to- he did not have any
certain
debt because
cities
he's
around
gonna
the country.
He didn't have any debt, and the reason he doesn't is because he did a much better job with it. And he is even sent out a tweet saying that he will pay the debt.
I don't even know what
$20 million.
I don't even know what the argument is here. Like, are we arguing about how they
Can I
ran their
ask my
campaigns?
question?
I'm trying to figure out how you are okay with Kamala's plan on the economy.
Sure.
when-
So what's your objection to her economic policies?
Dude, you are going. You voted for the same woman that because you liked her economy.
Can you just stop talking? Can you tell me what her economic policies are? Which one do you object to? Wait. Which one do you object
After
to?
she raised $1 billion.
Hello. I'm asking you a simple question. This is not rocket science. What Kamala Harris policies surrounding the economy do you object to?
It's not about objecting it. It's about she couldn't even handle her own campaign.
Oh my God!
spending.
This is not rocket science. We're not talking about her campaign because
Exactly,
you
it's not
recognize
rocket science. Why are you
that Kamala.
supporting
Can you
Harris
please
when
answer my
she can't
question?
even fund her own campaign correctly.
So can you please answer my question? We both know that Donald Trump
Can I
and
ask my
Kamala
question,
Harris.
please?
One second. We both know that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris are not running the financials of their respective campaigns. So I don't know why you're making this point against Kamala Harris. I don't know why you're making this point against Kamala Harris because we both know that they're not doing the checkbooks, right? So can you just answer me the question simply? You're asking about Kamala Harris's economic policies. You're saying that Trump's are better. You're taking issue with me supporting Kamala Harris because of her economic policies. What Kamala Harris economic policies do you disagree with?
I'm disagreeing with you propping up her policies
So
being
what the
so
fuck?
great.
Can you answer a simple question? What economic policies of Kamala Harris's do you disagree with?
You know what, Harry? It's okay. It's
You don't
fine.
know. You don't
No,
know.
no. You
No, you don't
voted
know.
for a
See, this is
woman
the
that
problem.
can't
This is the
even
problem,
run her
right?
own
This is the
campaign.
problem.
That's 20 million in the
This is the problem. You don't even know her policies. You don't even know what you voted for. You don't even know what you support.
You don't even know what you voted for, dude.
Really?
You have
Because
no
I actually
idea
just
what you
told
voted
you.
for.
I actually just told you Trump's economic policies that I disagree with, and I can tell you
Why do you
economic
think
policies
it
of
is that
Kamala
you
Harris's
lost
that I
the
agree
election?
with.
Why do you think it is she lost the elections?
I'm sorry. I'm happy to talk about other topics with you, but I will not move on until you answer me what Kamala Harris economic policies you disagree with. And if you don't know, you can just say you don't know. But stop this charade.
How's it a charade?
I'm asking you a simple question. Just a simple one. What Kamala Harris economic policies do you disagree with?
It's not about disagreeing with it. It's about the evidence that is put forth that if she cannot run her campaign,
this is
she's not gonna be
absolutely
able to run an
absurd.
economy
So,
like
do
that.
you know any of her? Let me maybe ask maybe a more simple question for you. Do you know any of her economic policies?
No, not really.
You don't.
No. But you're propping it up to be such a
embarrassing,
good
man.
policy.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah,
It really is
whatever.
embarrassing. Like you came in with this like one point on her campaign, like the debt that the campaign has taken on, even though that's incredibly common for campaigns, like Donald Trump's
Well, it
campaigns
didn't happen
previously.
with Donald Trump, dude.
Really? You don't think that
Yes.
the Trump campaign has never had debt?
No, I'm saying that in this election cycle, it did not happen to Donald Trump. Has even offered to pay Kamala Harris
You
debt.
keep making the exact same point over and over again about the campaigns
I
and the money.
know.
Like, did you come to this live with one point? Like you
No,
came in
I
with one
also want to know
argument and
why you
that's
think
it.
it
You're
is
not
that you
prepared for
lost
anything
the
else.
election.
Is that what happened?
No, I just want to make sure. Why do you think you lost the election? I want to know that too.
I think there was a variety. I was just talking to somebody earlier that I think there's a number of reasons. There was a lot of anti-incumbency sentiment around the world. So in countries where leaders were running for re-election, a lot of them got destroyed, or people voted pretty badly for the other side or whatever. I think that was part of it. That was just like a global phenomenon following COVID because of the economy, because of mass immigration and things of that nature. And I don't know if there was a real way to reverse that. No real incumbent has been successful in that attempt since the pandemic.
The reason I think that you guys lost is because you're not in touch with reality of the real issues going on in the country.
You don't even know what Kamala Harris's economic policies are. Please,
Yeah,
spare me.
okay, whatever.
You can't claim that Kamala Harris is not in touch with the real issues in the country if you don't even know what her policies are.
I can because
You
I
can't. You obviously
Of course I
can't.
can.
How can you make
that
such
you
a
can-
claim?
okay.
Kamala
Okay.
Harris could be saying that she wants to cut taxes for every single middle class American, wants to boost manufacturing and all that stuff, which by the way is her economic policy. And you'd have no idea. You'd have absolutely no
Right.
idea.
Okay, then answer me this. Why is it that her whole slogan, all right, the reason that I'm saying that you guys are out of touch with reality of the real issues that's going on in this country, the reason I'm saying that is because every single exit poll showed that the real things that Americans were worried about are the direction that the country was heading in after the last 4 years of Joe Biden and border security. All right. Kamala had this whole slogan of we're moving at like a new way forward and we're turning the page and we're not going back. However, how can you say that it's a new way forward when she just copy and pasted Joe Biden's policies when those are the very same policies?
You don't know her policies. How this is such a mind-boggling conversation that we're having right now because you just a moment ago. By the way, JW, thank you for all the subs, my man. I appreciate you always. Just a moment ago, I asked you what her economic policies are. You said you don't know, and now suddenly you're saying that she copied and pasted Joe Biden's policies, but you don't know what her policies are. You don't know what her policies are.
Sure thing, Harry.
You said it. You said yourself you don't know what her policies are.
Dude, the DNC checks have stopped coming.
See?
You can stop
We're
pretending.
reverting back to... Wait, so now I'm not... Oh, he left. So now I'm not paid by the DNC. All right, everybody, there you go. Now I'm not paid by the DNC anymore. I'm glad we got past that conspiracy theory. All right, what's up, John?
How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. So the night of the election, or maybe the day after, you posted a TikTok saying that America failed women.
Correct.
I think that's true. Okay.
Yes.
How exactly did America fail women?
Yeah, I think that, on reproductive rights, on the fact that Trump is a sexual abuser, on the way that Donald Trump has spoken about women, on the way that he's bragged about assaulting women. I think that when you elect somebody who speaks so poorly of women and has stripped women of their rights, I think that fails the population's women. I think that's a bad thing.
Okay. So, what has Trump done to, remove their rights, as you said?
Appointing 3 conservative Supreme Court justices to the court, and with the explicit intent of them overturning Roe v. Wade, which is what happened. And now 1 in 3 women in this country live in a state with a Trump abortion ban.
Okay. That's fair. So if Trump is so horrible for women, then why did 44% of women in the U.S. vote for him? And I think have a statistic.
Yeah. I don't know if it was 44%. I'll take your word for it. But I think there are a lot of people out there that vote against their own self-interests, unfortunately.
Why would they do that?
That's a great question. I don't know why people vote against their own self-interest. There's people who are making $70,000 a year. They're working their tails off to put food on the table at night and keep a roof over their head, and yet they voted for Donald Trump anyway. I would call that voting against their own self-interest. If you're a billionaire, you're super wealthy, of course you're going to vote for Donald Trump. He's going to benefit you. But if you're a middle class worker, blue collar worker, and you vote for Trump, that I would argue is voting against your own self interest. If you're a woman, you vote against your own self interest because it could be you one day that needs an emergency abortion, and then you go to the hospital and the doctors are unsure if they could operate on you, and then you're sitting there thinking, God, I shouldn't have voted for Donald Trump. That would have made my life a lot easier. So I think there are a lot of people that do that.
Well, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people out there that they would never have an abortion, even if it was the last option.
I disagree. I don't think there's a lot of people out there who would let themselves die.
Yeah, but there are also a lot of people that consider that baby a human that they should not kill no matter what. I think you're not taking that into account. Whether you consider that somebody that should be terminated to save the mother or not, other people think, well, this is my baby. I'm not killing this thing, even if it hurts me or kills me. And that's happened a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that there's a bunch of women out there who would, if they needed an abortion to save their lives, they wouldn't get it. I don't see a lot of women like putting their lives on the line for, a fetus that itself might not even make it. If somebody needs an emergency abortion, they're having like an ectopic pregnancy. I don't think that they're going to say, let me tough it out.
Well, I agree with the ectopic pregnancy, but I don't think that people are going to say, oh, well, darn, you voted for Donald Trump. You can't have an abortion, even if it's going to kill you.
Well, that's happened. Right? That's happened. Like Amber Nicole Thurman took abortion pills in Georgia. And she took them in North Carolina, came back to Georgia where she lived, and her not all the matter hadn't excreted from her uterus. And so she needed to go have this routine procedure at a Atlanta hospital. She went there, but because they had a strict abortion ban following Roe v. Wade overturn, the doctors didn't know if they could operate. And they waited 20 hours and tracked her infection, and they eventually operated on her, but it was too late and she died. So there are absolutely women out there who have died, and we're getting a lot of stories like this. It's tragic because of Donald Trump. So yeah, we failed women. We failed Amber. We failed Kate Cox. We failed Allie Phillips. We failed a lot of women out there.
I see your point. I do. What about all the people that, so their mother considered aborting, but maybe it was illegal, or maybe they were convinced not to, and now we have so many people that have been able to live lives because they weren't murdered.
I mean, I don't know what you want me to say to that. That was the mother's choice to go forward with the pregnancy. That's what being pro-choice is all about. That if the mother wants to, or the person that's carrying the baby wants to make that choice, then they're welcome to do so. If they want to terminate that pregnancy, that's fine. If they want to carry the pregnancy to term, that's fine as well. That's what choice is all about.
What about that baby's choice to live?
Yeah, I don't put their choice above a mother's choice. Why?
They're equally human.
Yeah, I think there's some philosophical reasons why, like you wouldn't put, for example, you would agree with a family like pulling the plug on a brain dead patient, right?
Maybe. I don't know. I understand where you're coming from, but I've never been put in that situation. I can't tell you what I would do. Well,
but you would agree with giving the family the choice to be able to do that, right?
Yes, because that person really doesn't have a chance to live. That baby has a pretty good chance of living.
Well, but it's not about potential, right? It's about your argument is based off of life. So if your fundamental is life, then that brain dead patient is still living. They're still alive, technically speaking. But if you pull the plug, they will no longer be alive. But I think any reasonable person would agree that it's okay for a family to pull the plug on somebody.
Yeah. But that baby is alive and can stay alive and live a life outside of, well, should I terminate this pregnancy or not?
Yeah, but are you arguing then that potential is what matters?
No, I'm arguing, are they alive and are they going to be alive in the future? That brain dead person is not going to stay alive.
They're going to be alive in the future.
Probably going to stay alive, like 99%.
Yeah. Well, that brain dead patient is still going to be alive.
Maybe, but they're not going to be doing anything. The baby will be doing anything. The baby will be living a life. He'll be living outside the mother's womb, like for the rest of his life. Like you're
so
killing
it's potential.
That person.
So you're saying potential matters more than actual life?
It's not potential. It's what that kid will do.
So it's potential. So you're saying the potential matters more than the actual life?
Well, you're saying someone's choice matters more than a life. So we're equal there.
Yeah, somebody's choice on their own body, giving up their resources for another thing. Yeah, I think that choice matters more. I also think like the
They put
data
that
backs up
baby
my
in their
argument, not
body.
yours. So
How so? How so?
because according to the WHO, in countries where women have access to reproductive care, their standard of living is better, their quality of life is better,
I'm
they're
sure
more
it is.
financially
I'm
stable,
sure it is because they
their
can just say, okay, I
life
don't want to take care
expectancy
of
is
this baby.
higher.
Let's kill it. I don't want to take care of this baby. Let's kill it. I'm sure it does
Yeah,
improve their
so
standard
women
of
where
life,
when they
but
have
the
access
baby's
to
dead.
reproductive care are more successful. Their standard of living is better. Their life expectancy is better. Their quality of life is better. And you're saying, well, you know, I want to control that woman's body. I want the government to make that decision for her. So let's put women in a situation where they're
No,
less financially
I want
stable. Their
that
quality
baby
of
to
life
live.
is worse.
I don't
Their
want to
life
control
expectancy is worse.
that
That just
lady's
makes
body.
absolutely
I
no
want that
sense.
baby to live.
That makes
I
absolutely
want
no
that
sense.
baby to live. Wanting a baby to live?
Yeah, I know but you're not. Just be honest with it. You're not just saying, "Oh, I want a baby to live." That's a really nice way to dress up your argument. But at the core of your argument is the fact that women will be less financially stable. They will have a worse life expectancy. They will have a worse quality of life. So you're like relegating women to this reality just because you want to feel better about yourself. You want to be the moral arbiter about what's good and what's not.
So
Why can't women be the arbiter of their bodies? And they want maybe they want a future that they can pursue that is financially better and their life expectancy is better and their quality of life is better. Who made you in charge of relegating women to that reality?
So because a woman will have a tougher life with a baby, she should be allowed to kill it?
Yeah, I think if before 24 weeks, before it's sentient, yeah, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, that's pretty messed up, man.
Really? I don't think it's messed up. I don't think if a woman's assaulted and she wants to terminate that pregnancy, it's messed up. Do you? You
I
think
understand
you think
if a
that's
woman
messed
is
up?
assaulted that she would want to terminate that pregnancy, but what about all the others that are not assaulted, that's there consensually, and they still decide to murder the baby?
Shout out to the person I was talking to recently about this because it's a good line. Why does a woman have to be violated in order for her to have a choice? Why does it have to be assault in order for it to be justified and for you to understand suddenly?
Hold on. I did not say that I think she should be allowed to terminate the pregnancy. I said I understand wanting to. That baby is there whether they like it or not. I understand that's rough. But
So
that baby
you don't think that assault victims should be able to terminate their pregnancies?
No, I do not. I know that's
So if a
controversial.
10-year-old girl is assaulted, you want that 10-year-old girl to be forced to give birth?
Unfortunately, the baby, while it's there under horrible circumstances, should be delivered.
Why?
Because that baby shouldn't have to die because something horrible happened.
So it's life. It comes back to life for you.
Yeah, being allowed.
So what about
live.
what about the little kids that Donald Trump drone striked in the Middle East?
What about the little kids that Obama drone striked in the Middle East?
I'm not arguing that women's bodies should be regulated, that we should, control them to the point where they can't have abortions. You are.
Yes.
So you voted for Donald Trump.
Should be illegal.
You voted for Donald Trump, but he also drone striked kids in the Middle East. Do you not care about their life?
So did Obama, and I guarantee
why are you pivoting to Obama? Why are you pivoting?
I'm asking you a question.
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
Drone strikes. I'm answering your question.
Can you answer my question? Actually though, how you want to regulate women's bodies so that they can't get abortions, but then you vote for somebody who kills kids all over the world, or not even kids, just people around the world.
Okay, and you
wait, no, don't do whataboutisms with me. Don't do you did this, you do that. Engage with the argument I'm making toward you. Don't pivot. So here's what I'm trying to prove to you. You don't actually care about life.
Oh, okay. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, okay. You don't actually care about life. You don't. You care more about regulating women's bodies. And again, you care about feeling good about yourself. You care more about feeling moral than you do about actual society and what makes society better and principle. Because if you were principled, you'd say, I would never vote for Donald Trump. Hold on, I'm not done yet. If you were principled, you'd say, I would never vote for Donald Trump because he had all these drone strikes that killed thousands of innocent people in the Middle East and around the world. And if you actually cared about making society better, you'd say, maybe I personally, I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm sorry, I'm not done yet. If you cared more about making society better, you might say that, hey, I personally would not get an abortion, or I personally would not be comfortable with my partner getting an abortion, but I recognize that having access to reproductive care is important and makes people's lives better. But you don't have principle. You're just more interested in feeling moral. And that's what it boils down to. And also you're so a psycho with this that you would force a 10-year-old girl to give birth just to make yourself feel better. That is wild. Insane.
So I'm a psycho for wanting babies to not be killed.
You are absolutely a psycho for wanting to force 10-year-old girls to give birth. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Okay, buddy.
I'll stand on that every single day of the week.
You've resorted to gaslighting. We're not going to get anywhere with this.
How is it? Wait. What was gaslighting there?
Oh, you're telling me, you just want to feel moral. You just feel this way. You believe this. You believe this.
That's not gaslighting.
It is gaslighting.
Define how that. Do you know what gaslighting means? What the? I don't. No, he didn't do it. No, he didn't. No, he didn't, bro. No, he didn't. Come on, man. You can't. You can't. Oh my god, bro. That's crazy. You just. Bro, that's actually insane, dude. That's actually insane. He didn't know it was he didn't know the word gaslighting. He just kept throwing it around. He's like, "Oh, you're gaslighting me. What is it?" And he left. Oh, that's too funny. Emily, thank you for the $20. Super nervous for family and friends of mine after news of the appointment of Tom Homan, Trump's border czar, today. The work you're doing to educate and inform has become more important than ever. Thanks for what you do. Yeah, the last video I posted was about Tom Homan. You should check it out if you want to know how crazy this guy is. I appreciate you, Emily, and stay strong, all right? Let me know if you never need anything. It's just terrible. Nira, thank you for the $25. Getting involved is crucial. I've seen how empty promises and propaganda destroy. Look at Iran and how it suffered under the rise of the Islamic Republic, fueled by misleading rhetoric. Your voice and others are vital in this fight. Keep speaking the truth, Harry. The battle continues. Nira, exactly right. And I love what you just said. I appreciate that so much, and thank you for your support. It means a lot. JP, thank you for the $5. Where are some of the favorite places you've traveled? I was just telling somebody the other day, I really loved London. Loved Barcelona. I used to live in Europe, so it was like really easy to travel these places and super cheap, by the way. Yeah, I think like London and Barcelona are some of my favorite places I've been. Kate, thank you for the $2 as well. Favorite color? Probably blue. Represent the Democrats. Yasmir, thank you for the $2 as well. I appreciate and admire and appreciate your passion. Sorry, I just totally misread your comment. Keep it up. Thank you. You too. I appreciate you. Daisy, thank you for the $2. Means a lot. P.S. Come home. The kids want to see you. That's funny. Essence, thank you for the $3. I want to know how they feel about forced vasectomy. Yeah, me too. Me too. All right. If you voted for Donald Trump, let me know. Come up and tell me why you did. Tell me why you did. Makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Why anybody would vote for Donald Trump, beyond me. Not quite sure. Evan says he voted for Donald Trump. Can't invite him for some reason. Maybe he doesn't have live access. I don't know. User? Let's get user up here. Give him an invite. Yes, forced vasectomy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I imagine they probably feel pretty bad about
what's
it that
up,
way.
Harry?
How old are you, man?
18,
What year were you born?
2006.
Okay. You vote for Donald Trump?
Of course I did.
Why?
Because the fucking economy was the greatest 4 years ago. You had a president who loves sitting on beaches, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, they're gonna need some common sense, you feel me?
No, I don't feel you. Can you elaborate further? Like, what did Donald Trump do to make the economy better?
The price of eggs were lower than they were.
Okay, I'm asking you a simple question that you just refused to answer. What did Donald Trump do to make the economy better?
What didn't he do? You're a bitch, Harry. Fuck
So,
you.
yeah, exactly. You don't know, little man. You don't know, little man. Go get
Little
out
man,
of
I'll
here, buddy.
stick-
Get out of here. Get out of here. You don't know, little guy. All right, if you're a Trump voter, let me know in the chat. I'll bring you up. Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. Make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We are 16 followers away from 100 for the night, so drop a follow. Drop a follow if you haven't already. I appreciate that. And let's get somebody up here. Mason says, I am Trump. No, he just said, I am Trump. I wonder if maybe he meant to say something else. We'll find out. Let's give him an invite up here. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. You vote for Trump?
I did.
Okay. Why'd you vote for Trump, man?
I think he has a good team around him. I think he...
What?
Yeah.
What? You remember when Donald Trump, recall what happened to Donald Trump's first team they had around him?
Yeah, they turned on him. They didn't like each other.
They all quit because he's a lunatic. and they all came out against him. The majority of people came out against him. John Bolton, Mark Esper, even Nikki Haley has criticized him. Rex Tillerson, John Kelly, Lissa Farah Griffin.
Yeah. Have you heard he talked about how when he first came in office, he didn't really know much about it. Obviously, he's not a career politician, so he had to lean on people he was close to help him appoint people. And he said that a lot of them didn't work out his way. But I think now, this time around, he kind of learned from it.
He'll probably put in more loyalists, which is not good in government. Having loyalists is not good.
Well, he's got people like RFK and Tulsi Gabbard who are kind of like career leftists and liberals. That
they are not leftists. Tulsi Gabbard has been a Republican, just a subtle Republican her entire career. And RFK Jr. is somebody who's just power hungry, right? He was he's also never been elected to office. So, he's just power hungry. That's all it is.
Really, you don't think there's anything that RFK could do positive? You don't think like Make America Healthy Again is a good thing?
I don't think there's anything that RFK can do positive. He's not a doctor. He's not a scientist. He hasn't published any studies. He's never been peer reviewed. He has no experience in the medical field. So the fact that like all of you Trump voters have bought into this idea that somehow RFK Jr. is going to be able to make America healthier, is insanity. I was going to say a worse, more mean word, but I won't.
I think that's interesting. He's got like other like. Do you think Vivek's a smart guy? Could you
I'm sure Vivek is
smart, even if you don't agree with him?
Yeah. I'm sure Vivek is probably a good businessman, but when it comes to politics, I don't know if he's the brightest. I mean, he advocated for getting rid of the FBI. What? You agree with that? You agree with getting rid of the FBI?
No, obviously.
Do you agree with defunding the FBI?
I think that maybe not the FBI, but I think there's a lot of government agencies.
Do you agree with defunding the FBI?
Less funding. No.
Yeah, so Trump called for the defunding of the FBI, and Vivek Ramaswamy called for getting rid of the FBI. These are the people you just voted for, by the way.
Okay, that's cool.
That's not. What do you mean it's cool? It's not cool. What are you talking about?
Okay, well, there's other things as well, but I think that reducing the debt's an important thing. I think that he's got people around him that support that idea that the national debt is a problem. Yeah.
So Trump's who had the deficit go up every single year of his presidency is going to be able to reduce the debt. Trump, who also had more 10-year borrowing than Joe Biden, almost double what Joe Biden has over a 10-year period, is going to be able to somehow reduce the debt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though, like, we have projections from major economic institutions that Trump's policies that include like getting rid of taxes on a variety of different pieces of your income would lead to trillions of dollars added to the debt over his presidency. The high end being around 15, the kind of mid range being around 7 to 8 trillion over 4 years. That guy reducing the debt.
I think I've listened to a lot of people who are smart guys who have surrounded themselves around him, who I am hoping and optimistic that he will take their ideas. And
Trump, do you know who this man is? He is the most egotistical maniac we've ever seen in politics. The idea that he's going to start listening to anybody for their advice when it comes to politics is lunacy.
Wow,
he didn't do it this first term.
He has.
He didn't do it his first term.
I mean, I don't know if you can like confidently say that without a doubt that he doesn't listen to other people. You don't know him. You don't
we
know.
We can confidently say that he doesn't listen to other people. Yeah. Like we have evidence from the aftermath of the 2020 election where he had trusted lawyers, good lawyers in the White House counsel's office, his own family, his trusted advisors saying he did not win the election, that he lost. And instead of listening to these people and giving up the charade, he brought in quack lawyers like Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani to tell him what he wanted to hear. So he'll bring in people who tell him that he's great and tell him what he wants to hear and say that every idea that he has is fantastic. But he won't actually listen to people who might, be conservative but disagree with him. That's why he cleaned house and fired a bunch of people, and a bunch of people resigned that weren't perfectly ideologically aligned with him, and instead put a bunch of loyalists. That's bad in government.
Yeah. I don't. I think. Do you really think that he's gonna like ruin the country?
I think he's going to be very bad for the country. Yes.
Why didn't he do it the first time?
He did do it the first time.
He didn't. I'm pretty sure
he did.
that's not. Why did the same amount of people vote for him and like 10 million people voted or didn't vote for Kamala Harris after they voted for Biden?
That's probably going to be around like
his administration.
After all the votes are counted, it's probably going to be closer to like 4 million less or something like that. Like Kamala Harris is right now up to 71.79 million. Biden got 81. So, and only 95% of the votes have been counted. A lot of the outstanding votes are in California, where only 76% of the votes have been counted. Oregon has only counted 87% of the votes. Washington's only counted 92% of the votes. So a lot of blue votes are still coming in. She'll probably gain around another 3 million-ish votes. So it'll be like 4 or 5, maybe 6 million less than Biden.
Whatever the number is, but like she lost by quite a bit. And I think that just the big idea is that people lived a better life from 2016 to 2020 than they did the last 4 years.
Yeah, but why? Because people say like, oh, the economy was better under Donald Trump.
Obviously.
Yeah, but people say the economy was better under Donald Trump. You have to go a step further. You can't just say, oh, this was the way that was, which means that if we elect Donald Trump again, it's going to be that way again. You have to ask, well, why was it that way? Why was the economy good?
Yeah, so if that's the truth, why was Kamala and her whole team so bad at getting that idea across to all those voters that didn't vote for her?
I don't think that they were bad at getting the idea across. I mean, again, we still have like 72 million Americans voted for, 75 million voted for Donald Trump. There's currently a 3 million deficit between them. So I don't think that they were bad at getting the message across. But a lot of Americans were just hurt during the pandemic. Inflation was high. And even though inflation was not the fault of Joe Biden and it was not the fault of Kamala Harris, it's nothing to do with the executive, Americans want to blame somebody. So they blame the incumbents and they voted for the other guy. You know what I mean?
Do you think that inflation could have been lower if they stopped spending so much money when they didn't have to, with like stimulus checks and so forth? Like,
yeah, I mean, if we want to blame the stimulus checks, then we have to blame Donald Trump for it, for at least the majority of inflation then, because his 2 stimulus packages combined were more than the Biden stimulus package.
They continued it long after they were needed.
They passed 1 stimulus package. They passed 1. Trump passed 2. So if you're saying, oh, the stimulus is because of it,
government spending does affect inflation.
It can affect inflation, but can you point me to anything that the Biden administration did that raised inflation in terms of policy they passed?
Well, you just said it can't. I don't think you can draw a direct line.
Exactly, because it doesn't exist, right? It doesn't exist. The Biden administration is not responsible for inflation. And if you don't, just take my word for it, then we can look
into this. Yeah.
We can look at countries around the world that had inflation rates spike at the exact same time or around the same time. Great Britain spiked it around the same time.
Of course, COVID's going to spike inflation.
Yeah. So that's why COVID was the main driver of inflation. And maybe you think that, some government spending was a part of that. Possibly. But the main driver of it is COVID.
Yeah, I would agree. I truly think that if the Democrats would have done like a speed run primary, they would not have elected Kamala Harris and they would have beat Trump. Do you agree with that?
No, I actually don't think that the candidate being any different would have changed anything.
So you think no matter what, they were going to lose?
Yeah, I think that the results were baked in. You know what I mean? I don't think that. I think Kamala Harris ran a great campaign, as good of a campaign as she could run. She had all the money, all the backing. I think that Americans were just wanting to vote for the other guy, right? Whether it was Donald Trump or another Republican, I think the Republican was going to win. And as I've been talking about in this live, the anti-incumbency sentiment that's plagued the world the past couple of years, I think it just, it was its turn to hit the United States. So,
really, I truly think almost anybody would have beat Trump. I personally don't think. And I think if the Republicans had picked a better candidate, they would have beat Kamala by even more. Would you agree with that?
I don't know.
No?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say that if the Democrats picked a different candidate, they would have, and if the Republicans picked a different candidate, they could have. I don't know. It's just hard to say.
I think Kamala was bad at, I don't think she was a good speaker. Like, it seemed disingenuous when she talked, or she seemed like she didn't, I feel like she had a hard time getting her message across. Like, it didn't relate with a lot of people. And then her deciding to not go on Joe Rogan. Do you think that was a mistake?
Yeah, I would have liked to see her go on Joe Rogan. Personally,
Do
I
you
think that would
she
have been a good
do you
idea.
think she would have been able to hold a conversation with or for 3 hours with him?
Yeah, I think she should have gone on Joe Rogan, but I don't think that would have changed the election.
Really? Yeah. You don't think she would have gained any more support?
No, not at least not enough to swing the election in her favor. We have the main problem in this country is like where people get their news, and I think that like people's algorithms on TikTok and Instagram. People's algorithms on TikTok and Instagram are just flooded with right wingers right now. So the left content creators and the Democratic Party as a whole need to do better in investing in content creators and investing in social media than we've done thus far. A bunch of left-leaning PACs like still bought TV ads, which is good. TV ads are important, but I think that social media is equally, if not more important in terms of getting your message out to more people. So, but we're going to learn from these mistakes and build upon it.
Yeah, I think the media is corrupt too. I think that needs to.
Where do you get your news? Just out of curiosity.
I like to listen to podcasts. I listen to you guys because I think it's entertaining.
What podcast do you listen to?
Have you heard of the All In podcast?
The name sounds familiar. Who hosts it?
Chamath, Jason Kalkinakis, I think is his last name. It's pretty bipartisan. I mean, David Sachs is like hardcore MAGA, and he always
I know. Yes, okay.
Guys.
Yeah. Okay.
But those are smart guys. They're not like one-sided crazy people. So I like to listen to them. I mean, I don't really watch the news. I'm a younger guy, but
yeah.
TikTok. But the news is just it's so left. It's so corrupt. They're like, I think that needs to be fixed. Like, if I truly believe that, I think Trump's not a great guy. Like, anybody who thinks he's like a great guy is obviously wrong. But I also believe that if any political party attacked a candidate as much as they attacked him, they'd find dirt on people. Maybe like.
Okay. I mean,
they attacked him for forever. Obviously, we're going to find stuff.
Like, okay. Yeah, I think that everybody has done things that they're not proud of, or they've said things that they're not proud of. But we have to be, be honest here. We have to be honest here. It's like Trump assaulted women and committed crimes, right? I'm sure that if you were running for office and people were doing opposition research on you, they'd probably find things that you did and said that were not flattering. But I don't think that you've like assaulted women or committed crime. Trump is just like a uniquely bad person.
Yeah, well, aren't the felony cases are like, how I understand it, they're like the actual crime he committed were misdemeanors, but since it was to cover up another crime, that changes it to
that makes it to a felony, correct? Yep.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure like all 34 accounts are like the same. They're all on the same act, aren't they?
Yeah, falsifying business records in the first degree, 34 different documents.
Yeah. And then the civil case, the sexual assault or SA, which is like a civil case. So what's it called? It's probable cause versus reasonable doubt.
No, it's more likely than not versus beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah. So it's easier to prove that he's guilty in that case too.
Yeah, but also the evidence was pretty strong there. I mean, I think that the strongest piece of that case is the fact that there was a dress that E. Jean Carroll was wearing that day, and they tested the dress. It had her DNA, of course, because she was wearing it, but it also had an unidentified male's DNA on the dress. And they asked Donald Trump to submit a DNA sample for testing, and he refused. And it's like, well, why did you refuse?
Yeah, and then there's the other side with like the Russian collision that they tried to get him for like 3 years. They found out that was fake, and then no one really talked about that.
It wasn't fake. Like, Russia interfered in the election in 2016, and Trump was welcoming of it. Now, was there collusion that the campaign like specifically set up with Russia? No, but there was some form of connection. Like, Russian officials met with Trump campaign officials in Trump Tower in New York City in 2016 to provide them with dirt on Hillary Clinton. Trump even admitted to this meeting happening. So, and, you know, there are a bunch of different Trump officials who've actually gone to jail as a result of this case, or been indicted and then later pardoned by Donald Trump. So the Russian collusion, while there wasn't like Trump saying, hey, Putin, you help me, I'll help you. There was a connection between the campaign, many different pieces of connections between the Trump campaign and Russian officials that are really concerning. And then while the investigation was going on, Donald Trump was obstructing justice, which is like, what? And this is not my word. This is the word of the special counsel Robert Mueller, who investigated this.
Yeah, I just think the big thing about that was that they attacked him for 3 years, pretty much accused him of it, said it was true, and then when it came out that it wasn't, that wasn't very publicized, so a bunch of people still believed it was true. And I think he lost the election, but I think he would have won if people didn't believe he was in like collusion with Russia.
I disagree. I think people were pissed off because of COVID. Yeah.
I think it would have helped him if the media wasn't so.
I don't think that the Russian investigation into him changed anything about the 2020 election. I think it was COVID. Anyway. Anything else, man?
No, I just think people like you and the left just attack him and his personality way more than is justifiable. I think not a great guy, didn't ruin the world, not gonna ruin the world, not gonna cause harm to anybody, and I guess we'll see.
All right, man. Well, we shall see. All right, man. Have a good one. I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling not optimistic about a second Trump term. Yo, Killer, thank you for the $2. Thank you for still trying to educate. You're my hero. Yo, Killer, I appreciate you so much. You know that. Thank you so much. And Kate, thank you for the $2. Love the bracelets. Thank you. Thank you. The friendship bracelets. Laura, thank you for the $25. Harry, do you think that Elon Musk helped Trump win the election with hacking/cheating? No. I've heard, but not sure. I have so much anxiety over Trump winning. I live in California. My niece and I are 2 blue dots in my entire family. I love watching your lives. No, I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for being here and thank you for your support. But no, they won fair and square. And look, I know that a lot of people are very upset about the election, but we're not them. You know what I mean? We're not them. We're not MAGA. We can't claim irregularities when we lose. You know what I mean? So we're not them. JW, thank you for the $5. The MAGA cult will see what they voted for and regret it. I totally agree. 100%. Coral, thank you for the $5. Happy Veterans Day to all of those who have served the country and still believe in democracy, freedom, and upholding the Constitution. Love you, Harry. Thanks for all that you do. Yeah, if I haven't said it already, which I might actually not have this live, happy Veterans Day, everybody. If you've served or you know somebody that's served, thank you, and thank them. Nicole, thank you for the $5 for gaslighting John. I appreciate you, Nicole. Sienna, thank you for the $5. Sienna, hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Sienna Morris. It's got to be exhausting debating dumbasses all the time. Buy yourself something nice for real. I appreciate that. Thank you. It can be tiring, for sure. Yo, Sierra, thank you for the $5. What music do you listen to? I listen to a wide variety. My people can follow me on Spotify if you want. Paige, thank you for the $5. Thanks for educating the maggots. Thank you, Paige. I appreciate all you guys supporting. Means a lot. All right, if you are MAGA, let me know. I will bring you up, and you can tell me why. Let's give Joseph a chance. I'm not feeling too optimistic about this conversation, but make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. Double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 500,000 likes, and of course, Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio. Joseph, hello.
Yeah, am I on? I don't even know.
Yes, you are on. Yes.
Well, that's sick. So I think that look, I'm a conservative, but I think the Democrats, if you know football, pull Lions, clean house, change everything, because they can't. In my opinion, if Trump does have a good 4 years, they can't win another election. They can't. It's impossible for them.
That's what everybody says.
I mean, that's what I think. I live in New York, so.
Yeah, that's just not really how politics. It's not really how politics works. That if Trump does well, we'll never win another election again.
No, I'm saying that if you guys don't change your policy, because I think, because this is what because I'm very into history. It's been the party switch. I think we're seeing another party switch. The Democrats have fallen back from the union workers, fallen back from the party of the people, and now they have obtained. Don't look at me like that. And now they have obtained policy that.
So, wait, just to be clear, Kamala Harris who ran on giving 100 million Americans a tax cut. She was endorsed by some of the biggest unions in the country, such as the UAW. She supported policies that gave $25,000 to first-time home buyers who are primarily lower-income Americans. She supported American workers, wanted to bring American manufacturing back to the United States. Joe Biden was somebody who walked the picket line, the first president ever to do that. And Donald Trump, on the other hand, was subsequently running on giving another tax break to the wealthy after bragging about doing so the first time during his presidency. And he himself is a multi-billionaire who has barely paid income taxes when he didn't have to the past couple of years and whatnot. So tell me, like, how can you possibly say that? How can you possibly say that the Democrats are now like not the party of the working man? Any comment there? Nothing. You know, we can hear the background noise. We know that you're still there.
I know. I'm trying to talk. Wait, can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not serious. I couldn't. I just said a whole point. Oh my god. I said, all right. I got to say it again. But who instated the tax codes that he took advantage of?
It doesn't matter.
Yes, but who instated the tax code?
But you're talking about the Democratic Party of today, right?
The Democratic Party of today is the same Democratic Party that it was in 2016.
Arguably, Republicans put in a lot of those tax codes that he took advantage of.
How Hillary? Well, are we? I don't know.
Hillary Clinton was never elected president. She was a senator. She was Secretary of State, but she was never elected president. But yeah, Republicans
that helped out her friends, and Trump was one of her friends before he decided to run against her.
And all these Republicans have also endorsed this. So, like, it's not Democrats were exclusively putting in all these tax codes to help Trump.
What Republicans? Can you name what Republicans?
Yeah, like George Bush, like Ronald Reagan.
Well, George Bush, in my opinion, now is a Democrat. In today's standards. Who endorsed Kamala Harris? You know who endorsed Kamala Harris? Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney makes money off people dying.
Oh no, you didn't just say that, dude. Oh my god, you didn't just say that.
You know who?
Man, listen. I know. How old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm 18.
You're 18. I'm 22. So I know all these folks who grew up with Bush as president and were like, involved, are rolling their eyes right now because the idea that George Bush is a Democrat is that's painful.
I'm saying, especially from a foreign policy standpoint. Think about it, right? George Bush. Are we okay? Can I get a point out without you making a stupid face? Can I get a point out?
You can't say that. Okay, I'm happy to not make a stupid face, but you can't say that George Bush is a Democrat on foreign policy.
In today's standards, yes.
What are you talking about?
Can you? I would like to let you know.
Please.
What I'm saying is George Bush lied about weapons of mass destruction. Can we agree on that? In 2000, when he invaded that, he lied. Correct. Right now, who is the America First party? If we had to say, who's running on America First?
Well, Trump is running on America First. It doesn't mean he's actually America First.
Trump is running on America First.
He's running on it, but if he actually is that, it's a different story.
But let's just say what he's running on. We don't know what he's going to do, but people voted.
We know what he's going to do.
People voted on what he's running for. Okay, we're not. Yeah. He's not president yet. Can we talk about what he's running for?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, but I just want to make clear that we know what he's going to do. We've seen Trump as president already. This is not like a mystery.
Okay, he is the America First party. Right? George Bush was a massive interventionist. He invaded a country for no reason, apparently. No reason.
Uh-huh.
Not millions, I'm sorry. Thousands of people died for a lie.
Yeah.
Correct? Thousands of people died for a lie.
Yeah.
My opinion, there is no alternative media. We have boots in Ukraine right now. We have young men dying. If the mainstream media is able to push the Ukraine war like they've been trying to, I think that the Biden-Harris administration would be able to put boots down in Ukraine. Obviously,
I don't even know what you're talking about. We don't have American soldiers fighting in Ukraine.
When did I say that? I said if. I said this is an if. This is
okay. So I don't even know why you're making an if then, because Joe Biden doesn't want that.
I'm saying the Democratic Party is now the party of interventionism.
How are we the party of interventionism?
How much money do we send to Ukraine?
Republicans also voted for that funding.
Yeah, Republicans that Trump does not like. Trump said.
The majority of them, because I believe it's the majority of Republicans in the House and including the Senate also voted for that funding.
Yeah.
So is Trump an interventionist because he wants to send aid to Israel?
I don't agree with that on Trump's part, but
whether you agree with it or not, that's what Trump.
Sending aid to Israel,
I don't know why do you want this? Like, isolationist foreign policy has never worked. Like, this is so silly. Like,
Well-
I think there's a conversation to be had about aid to Israel, no doubt. But when it comes to aid to like Ukraine, for example, that's such an amazing investment on behalf of the United States that it's like a no-brainer that we should be investing in Ukraine.
Well, in my opinion, ever since, this is how I describe it. I think this is funny. If you don't think it's funny, then it's not funny. I think ever since the end of the Cold War, America and NATO have been on side quests, basically. Like we in the game when you complete the main quest.
Yeah. What?
I saw that. I thought it was funny, but whatever.
No, we're not on. There's no side quest. No.
But I think that at this point, like, look, there was a deal when the Soviet Union collapsed, saying that Ukraine will never be administered into NATO. We said we will uphold that deal. Now the NATO, I don't know if it was NATO or the EU president. I apologize for this, but he said.
Hello. Why is bro's like connecting to his like AirPods in the other room, bro? I swear to God.
It's when I put my phone on my charger, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
But do I agree with anything Russia does? No, I think they're wrong in everything. But at the end of the day, I think that they don't have a right to do what they're doing, obviously. Mm-hmm. But do I think that NATO had a right to do what they did and bragging and egging on the war?
NATO didn't. This is so frustrating, man. NATO didn't egg on the war. This is like entirely Russia's doing. Like these people who are pro-Russia.
Biden said no.
No. There was a peace deal that was being negotiated originally, and what would have happened is Russia would have gotten more land from Ukraine, and this was prior to Ukraine getting aid from other countries, and also prior to Ukraine discovering the fact that Russia went into a bunch of different Ukrainian villages, lined up people, shot them in the back of the head, and put them in ditches.
Do you think there's an end to the war? Like in the window right now, in the next 3 years, you think there's an end in sight?
I don't know.
In my opinion, there's not. So in my opinion, why keep sending young men to die in foxholes? I don't care.
Because look, Ukraine wants to fight, right? They want to fight for their sovereignty. They want their land. And if they want to continue fighting, then we, the United States, should back them in that fight. And
why is that our role in the world?
Because Ukraine standing,
what caused it?
Ukraine standing, what caused it? Russia. There was no.
I'm saying no matter what.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No, Ukraine standing is good for us. There is quite literally no negative of giving aid to Ukraine, and I'll talk about it from two different perspectives. Number one, the foreign policy perspective. Ukraine standing as a sovereign nation is good for us. They're an ally. They're the breadbasket of Europe. They trade with a bunch of European countries. They trade with us, and of course, having an ally in that proximity along the Black Sea is good. Okay, it's a good thing. And having our allies stay alive is also a good thing, of course. And then on the flip side, Russia is an anti-democracy enemy invading our ally. Russia getting stronger is bad for us. Them having access to more trade routes, more natural resources, things of that nature is bad for us. And who's to say that Russia would stop there? Thank you, Riley, for the subscription. Who's to say that Russia would stop there? Who's to say that they won't push into NATO countries like Poland? I'm not confident in that. So we have to stop them where they are. Now, that's from a foreign policy perspective. We don't... Oh, wait. Let me think if I want to add something to that. No, I'll put that in the American perspective. That's a foreign policy perspective. From the American perspective, the investment we're making is like 80, 70-ish billion dollars a year, which is virtually nothing for the United States. And what we're doing is the majority of the aid we're sending them is old weaponry that we have in our reserves that were made like 20 years ago. And so we send them our old weapons that are just collecting dust. Then the United States is investing in new weapons from American companies, so we get the best of the best, and we invest in American companies, bettering our economy and creating jobs in these companies, and Ukraine gets to fight against Russia. And so far, Ukraine has eliminated like half of Russia's original military. So our ally stands, Russia gets weaker, their military is diminished, we're sending them old weapons, and we get to invest in our economy and make new weapons. I don't see a negative.
So, can you hear me? Because my phone's on the charger. I think I fixed it.
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just the audio is bad, but I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. But, so, from now, I'm going to speak from historical perspective, because I'm a history major. It's what I enjoy.
Okay.
Any war against Russia from any foreign power, in my opinion, because people are saying, oh, we're bleeding the Russian military. We're not. Russia, throughout history, has prided itself in winning wars on just pure manpower. I don't think we're draining shit. I don't think we're draining anything. So in my opinion, this war right now, we can hold them where they are, but I think there's no end in sight. So I think right now it's best to make a deal, lick our wounds, fight another day, pick another day, because right now is not the time. Because it's too bad in the American economy right now, and I know you're going to try to refute this, in my opinion, it's failing. And the American people are not 100% behind the war. And I think that for America, because think about it, name a war that Americans were 100%. I'm not talking about like a few groups of people that opposed the war. 100% agreed with the war that we lost.
Well, there's never gonna be a war like that.
There never will be. I understand, but like I think this is not completely applicable, this analogy, but this is very close to our American view on Vietnam. It's just split down the middle. One party saying it's terrible, out. The other party saying no, we need to keep going. And I think that that's horrible for the nation. And I think that somehow, some way, there has to be an end to this, at least for the American involvement. And I don't want American involvement to stop while Ukraine's still fighting, because that just means total end for Ukraine. I want people to stop dying. That's my look on it. At least from a foreign policy standpoint.
Well, hopefully Donald Trump doesn't stop giving aid to Ukraine.
I don't think he'll stop giving aid to Ukraine until a deal is set. Yeah. And I think he's going to cut for a deal. Good for Ukraine, bad for Ukraine. It's at least people stop dying. That's how I look at it.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. All right, man. We'll leave the conversation there. I appreciate you coming up and having the conversation. You're welcome back anytime, all right?
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. Ay. Allison, thank you for the $1. Call me crazy, but I'm persistent. Don't worry. I saw your message. Don't worry. Emma, thank you for the $2.76. Hi, Harry. I just wanted to tell you that I'm in love with you. God, man, you guys are too kind, man. Emma, I appreciate you. Smooth. I can't even lie. Thank you, Emma, for the $2.76. I appreciate you. Bold. All right. If you are, first of all, make sure to drop a follow if you haven't already. We do these lives all the time. Double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 600,000 likes. And of course, Venmo, Cash App in the link in the bio if you want to support the live. Yeah. All right. If you are MAGA, come on up and tell me why you voted for Donald Trump. Makes no sense. I still proclaim that it makes absolutely no sense that people voted for Donald Trump. So if you are, just let me know in the chat. I'll try to get you up here and we'll talk. Okay. Well, that guy's profile picture, that has to be disqualifying. Audible cheese. Ryan Quinn. I think Ryan Quinn's requesting up. Let's try to give him a, God, that's a crazy text I just received. Ryan Quinn, here he comes. Let's bring up this guy.
What's up?
What's up, man?
All right. I got a few reasons why I voted for Donald J. Trump, okay?
Okay.
By the way, how old are you?
22.
Okay, so I'm like 2 years older. Okay, I'm 24. All right, so here's how my brain works, okay? So, well, for one, I'll just start off by saying I think Kamala was a terrible pick on y'all's behalf. I also think Joe Biden was a terrible pick. I think with all the people we have in the United States of America, we came up with someone who's pushing 80 and is honestly on a cognitive decline. And
are you talking about Trump or what?
No. I'm talking about Joe.
You recognize that Trump is also pushing 80, right?
Yeah, no, I get that. But the dude was up for 72 hours. You know what I mean? Like I would say, I think if we both sat here and tried to say that Joe is more cognitive than Donald Trump is, I think we'd both be lying. Okay. But
no, Joe Biden is definitely more cognitive than Trump is.
Bro, okay. All right. Well, we can.
Wait, just to be clear, there's only one person in American politics right now that's talking about boats sinking in batteries and being electrocuted with sharks in the water. There's only one person talking about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter endorsing him. There's only one candidate who's recently claimed that we're going into World War II and that Obama is still president. And there's only one candidate who wasn't able to recognize their own ex-wife who they were married to in a photo. And that's Donald Trump. There's only one. I'm sorry. You cannot look at me and tell me that Trump talking about a fictional character like Hannibal Lecter endorsing him is normal, and you can't tell me that he does that and is perfectly cognitively
Trump's
sound.
a showman.
I'm sorry.
So,
Yeah, okay, so
all right.
yeah, he's
So
a
we can
showman. That's
disagree
the
to disagree.
justification.
I
Man.
just
That's
think
bullshit.
based off of what I've seen, like I would say Trump is more cognitive than
Hannibal
Joe
Lecter, my brother, he said a
It's okay, it's
fictional
okay. We
character
can agree to
endorsed him.
disagree. It's okay. We can agree to disagree. No harm, no foul there. But so here's my thing. What? Answer a question for me. Answer a question for me.
Yeah.
What does Donald J. Trump have to gain by running another
Power?
election? Yeah. Well, okay. Power.
Keeping himself out of prison.
What do you define power? What do you define as power?
The most powerful person in the world.
Okay.
Being president of the United
Would you
States.
say money is power?
Yeah, I'd say money's a type of power, but I'd say that there's more power that comes with being president than super wealthy.
Okay. So have you ever looked at pictures pre-term, 4 years, and post-term of any president?
Yeah.
Would you say that they're, more stressed, obviously, during their 4
100%.
years than outside of it? Okay, so here's how my brain works. I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. Here's how my brain works.
Yeah.
He already served his 4 years, okay? And I would say it was a pretty solid 4 years. COVID was kind of crazy. But I would say it wasn't anything out of the ordinary from any other president, right? Nothing crazy happened. No wars. The Twin Towers weren't bombed.
What the
Here's my
fuck?
thing.
I can maybe anyway.
Here's my thing though. So what does he have to gain? He has a beautiful, loving family.
Keep himself
He
out
loves
of
to play
prison.
golf.
My friend.
He wasn't going to
I don't
prison.
think.
He has
I
all
don't
the
think
money
you
in the
guys.
world. He
I don't
could
think
be
you
on a
guys
yacht in
understand.
the Turks and Caicos. Bro, he
I
could
don't.
be
I don't
on
think you
a
guys
yacht.
understand. I don't think you guys understand.
I mean, what does he have to gain? I don't like
To
politicians.
keep himself out of jail.
I think politicians
He
are
wasn't
all
going to jail. He wasn't going to
I don't
prison.
think you guys understand the charges that Donald Trump was facing. Some of the charges he was facing carried a maximum of 20 years in prison, and he was facing multiple. If he was convicted and given the max on all of the charges facing him prior to becoming president, he was facing up to 700 years in prison. And you're saying, I don't know what Donald Trump's justification is for running for president, to keep himself out of jail. If he was almost certainly, given the evidence against him, going to be convicted in the cases against him surrounding the classified documents and surrounding the election interference cases, especially in D.C. He was going to be convicted. And the only way that doesn't happen is if he becomes president of the United States. And what did he do? He ran for president to keep himself out of jail.
So do you think that he could have easily gotten out of the country to avoid going to jail for this? With all the money that he has? Private
Yeah,
jet?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's my question. So, I mean,
I
like, he
think that
didn't
would
have
have
much
completely
life left.
destroyed his. I don't think so. I think that if there was actually a legitimate flight risk, the courts would have taken that into consideration. I don't think that he was
fair.
a flight risk.
Yeah, fair. Okay. But yeah, that's how my brain works. I think that, I don't know, man. I don't see what much he has to gain besides what you're saying is power.
Prison.
Okay, prison.
Keep himself out of jail.
If he's convicted.
Keep himself out of jail. That's a really solid reason to run in Donald Trump's mind. He doesn't want to sit in prison. It's
Okay.
terrifying for him.
Let me ask you something that I saw. I don't know how you feel about this. So I read in the news, it was saying that Kamala was $20 million in debt after she was given $1 billion for her campaign. How would you say that the country wouldn't have ran in a similar way with everything going on in Ukraine and just the economy in general?
Because Kamala Harris is not doing the books of her campaign, my man.
Okay.
And also, it's really common for campaigns to be in debt. Like Donald Trump still has like hundreds of thousands of debt from his campaign in 2016.
Okay. Yeah, that was just I don't know. I just read that. I'm just curious as to what your viewpoint would be on it. But yeah, that's my main point, man. I don't see what he has to gain. All he has to gain is more stress, honestly, in my personal opinion. I mean,
my God.
You're saying that he's going to go to jail, but is he convicted?
Yes.
Has he been convicted though?
No, but he's not going to be convicted because he's president, or he's going to be president.
So do you believe in innocent until proven guilty?
Oh yeah, I agree. And at least from the legal perspective, yeah. But we have two different types of court in this country. We have a criminal court where you're presumed innocent until guilty, and we also have the court of public opinion. So in the court of public opinion, you can look at the evidence and make a determination on Donald Trump's guilt. And if you look at the evidence against Donald Trump, any reasonable person with the evidence we have would conclude that Donald Trump is guilty of the crimes alleged against him. And there are plenty of people in history who have not been convicted of crimes, but we would all probably unanimously agree that they are guilty of those crimes. And I can give you examples if you want. And Donald Trump happens to be one of those people that on the document case, he would have been convicted, and it would have been so ugly for him.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So in a perfect world for Harry, who would you say should have been on the ticket? And why do you think? I mean, why? And tell me why you would have.
No, I was really happy with Kamala Harris. So you're asking on the Republican side or what?
No. On the Democratic side.
Yeah, I was really happy with Kamala Harris. I think she's incredibly qualified, and she's very good at what she does. Highly educated, highly experienced, highly accomplished. You can't really, like, in terms of qualification for president of the United States, you really couldn't have asked for a better candidate than Kamala Harris.
Okay. What do you think the huge disconnect was on this election from the left and, your average Joe?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of reasons. I think people were upset due to inflation in recent years because of the pandemic. I think people were upset due to mass migration. None of these things are the fault of Joe Biden or the fault of Kamala Harris. This is something that was happening around the world. And a lot of incumbents around the world have also lost their elections, or, there was a big turn in power because a lot of people around the world were feeling the exact same thing here in the United States. So it was just America's turn to experience that. So, it's not that Kamala Harris is unqualified. It's not because she's a bad candidate. It's not because her policies aren't popular. It's just a lot of people who, pay attention to politics a little bit, don't, kind of tune in and tune out, were just angry. And so they voted for the opposite side, which, same thing happened in 2008. Like, Obama was a great candidate. John McCain was a good candidate for the Republicans, but John McCain got demolished because people were upset with the Republicans over the 2008 financial crisis,
Yeah, I think, well, I got two last things that I'll get out of here. But one thing that I have to say, so this is something I keep seeing, and it doesn't really make much sense to me. Basically saying that, Donald Trump is taking away women's rights.
Yep.
And my question to you is, in what way, obviously Roe v. Wade's been overturned, it's up to the states. If that's his viewpoint on it, in what way is he, taking away women's rights if he's leaving it up to the states?
Yeah, so I think the argument there is that Donald Trump has already taken women's rights away with, his very intentional appointment of Supreme Court justices who were pro-life and having them overturn Roe v. Wade. And I think that, with Kamala Harris in office, we'd be much more confident that women's rights would be preserved. Whereas with Donald Trump in office, they're very much up in the air. And they're up in the air from two perspectives. From one, Donald Trump passing policy through Congress that limits someone's right to contraception or IVF or reproductive care generally. Or number two, Donald Trump appointing judges to courts who are, pro-life. They're strict constitutionalists, and they'll interpret the Constitution in a way that takes away the right to contraception. The only reason that contraception is a federally protected right is because the Supreme Court is interpreted as such. The only reason that gay marriage is a federally protected right is because the Supreme Court has interpreted the Constitution as such. And with Donald Trump appointing these crazy judges to courts all the way up and down the judiciary, I think that those rights are very much up in the air right now, whereas with Kamala Harris, they wouldn't be.
Yeah, so I understand that. I think, I don't know, just from what I've seen personally, it's like this big ordeal. And in my opinion, it's like, okay, if it is up to the states, it's not the federal government's job. I believe in smaller government. That's just my personal opinion. I think the less things that the federal government has their hands in, the better. And that's with money, that's with
But that's exactly...
housing.
But having abortion protected federally is small government. That's what small, because right now you have a bunch of states where the government is very much involved in women's bodies and very much involved in their doctors' offices. Like, the idea with having federal protection for abortion is that women get to make those decisions and the government cannot interfere in those decisions. It is between a woman and her doctor. But now Republican states are saying, no, it's between a woman, her doctor, and the state government. And I think that's wrong. So if you're less government, you'd say women get to make the choices that are best for themselves, keep the states out of it, keep the federal government out of it, and just let women make the choices that are best for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally like, I kind of fall in the middle on that issue. And I don't necessarily agree with, I wouldn't even say Donald Trump's came out and said that he's pro-life 100%.
He said he was the most pro-life president in history.
Okay, so I that could be due to my lack of research.
That's all good.
I thought he was just, basically stating, hey, it's up to the states. And so I understand that was kind of a big issue.
Oh, man. This dude also, just as a fun fact, Trump in Florida voted for a 6-week abortion ban. There was a ballot initiative in the state. He voted for abortion in the state to be banned after 6 weeks when many women don't even know that they're pregnant yet.
So morally for me, I think it's more of a thing where, for me, it's like if you're having consensual intercourse and then you choose to abort a child. In my opinion, I couldn't follow through with something like that, but I don't think it's, necessarily, unless it's like my direct, girlfriend or wife. I don't think, obviously I don't think I should have a say so in that. And I think it should be legal. But, for the people that are complaining that it's up to the states, it's like, I mean, don't live in that state. If you live in a conservative state, I'm not saying that you should drive 14 hours to get an abortion, but it's like, if it is up to the states, then it's up to the states. He's not just banning it, nationwide. He's not banning abortion nationwide.
You're pro-choice, by the way. That's what being pro-choice is. That you get to make a decision for your family, but you won't regulate the decisions that other families make. So you might be pro-life personally, but you don't want to regulate other women. That's being pro-choice. That's what it's all about. And also, it's not just as simple say, oh, well, if you don't want to live in a state with an abortion ban, don't. There's a lot of poorer Americans out there who can't just up and go, right? They have jobs. They have family around them in these states. They've lived there their entire lives. They're not going to move out of a state just because of reproductive rights being taken away, especially because maybe they can't even afford to do so. It's just when a crisis arises and a woman needs that care, she should be able to get that care without saying, well, I have to move state or travel to another state to do so. It just doesn't make sense. It should just be protected everywhere, and nobody should be getting involved in a woman's business. It's that simple.
So can I ask you a question? So, okay, let's say, you have a long-term girlfriend, you have been together 10 years, right? Yeah. You get her pregnant, she goes, has an abortion, you don't know about it. Do you think that your opinion matters in that conversation whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like in a healthy relationship, I think a man's opinion in this scenario can be factored in. I think, if that's what it is, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the woman, in my view. So I think, if the woman wants to take the man's opinion into account, she's welcome to do that. If she doesn't want to take their opinion into account, she's welcome to do that as well. It's her body. And you might feel one way, but, if she feels a different way, she's going to
That's kind of where I struggle on the whole thing is like with modern day feminism. It's like, I'm a man and my opinion doesn't matter. And that's kind of where I disagree with it is like, obviously if I have a girlfriend of 10 years and she's pregnant and, she thinks that we would have a better life without having a kid or, financially we don't have the money to afford the child. And she, goes off on her own and does that without my opinion being involved. It's like, that's kind of where I disagree. That's where I kind of draw the line. It's like, I think my opinion should matter. And I also think that, to an extent, women are asexual. They can't just poop out babies whenever they want. Like, obviously it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I disagree. That's kind of where I fall off the wagon there on that viewpoint. But I mean, I don't know.
No, like, look, I think that your opinion, it's not that your opinion doesn't matter. I think that when you're having a conversation with a loved one about potentially starting a family or having a child, you should have a conversation with that person on that point. But at the end of the day, her opinion does matter more than yours. It's not that your opinion doesn't matter. It's just her opinion matters more, right? Yeah. Because it's her body. She has to go through with the 9-month pregnancy. She has to deal with the repercussions of that. She has to give birth. And if she wants to make a decision that's better for her that you disagree with, it's her choice to do that. So I don't think it's fair to claim that your opinion doesn't matter if you're in a relationship with somebody, but her opinion matters more,
Yeah. I wouldn't disagree there. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I'm more so in the middle on that. But I just keep seeing all these people say, "Oh, Trump's banning it nationwide," and I'm just like, dude, that's not what's happening. I mean,
in 2015, he said that women should be punished if they have an abortion, and Republicans recently introduced a national abortion ban that bans it after 15 weeks. So, this is not out of the realm of possibility.
So, what do you think about the tariff situation?
Stupid, idiotic, dumb.
Okay, so I'm not as educated on that. What would be your reasoning like behind that? As far as, I mean, how could it put us in a worse economic state as far as, the average Joe and, the taxes they're already paying and, I mean.
Because everything gets Trump has proposed 10 to 20% tariffs for everything coming into the United States. He's flirted with 60 to 100% tariffs on things coming in to the country from China, which means that just on your average goods, you go to the grocery store, everything is 10 to 20% more expensive. Now, inflation at its peak was 9%.
Okay.
Now imagine something going up 15% just like that overnight, 15% more expensive. You'd probably be pretty pissed off. And a lot of the things that you get from the grocery store, you know, we're not growing rice in Baltimore. There's no cocoa trees in Atlanta, right? These are things that we import from other countries. And you probably enjoy eating a lot of these things, having these products in your house, buying a lot of these things. And so all of that gets 10 to 20% more expensive. You're a working guy. You're trying to put food on your table. Everything gets more expensive.
So do you think that it's going to be more expensive for a shorter term, and then long term, it will pay off eventually?
No, I don't think that long term it's going to pay off. I think that that targeted tariffs are good. Targeted tariffs can absolutely be good. Democrats are not against targeted tariffs, but broad tariffs, there is no way in hell that every country that imports their stuff from China or manufactures stuff in China then sends it over here is suddenly going to move all of their manufacturing back to the United States. It's not happening. It's just not happening, right? Think about every company in the country doing that. That's what Donald Trump's saying is going to happen. Obviously not. Obviously not. That's not going to happen, right? So it's not going to pay off in the long run. There's no evidence that it's going to pay off in the long run. And it's just bad economic policy. It's just bad.
Okay. Yeah, I can't really speak on that. I just, hear people talking about it, so I'm not really as educated. Just curious as to what your viewpoint was.
Yeah.
My last thing would be, would you say that the last 4 years at the border has been successful last 4 years?
I think it's been a challenging 4 years, but not because of any one person or any one thing. It's just because, a lot of people have come to the border because of COVID. They're seeking economic opportunity. They come up to the United States trying to find work. And that's just been something that, again, we've also seen around the world and we saw in the United States. So it's hard to say like, oh, it was successful or a failure. I think it exposed that our system needs reforming for sure.
Yeah. So here's kind of, I have a pretty strong belief about the border. When I was in college, I actually had 3 friends that overdosed on fentanyl.
Wow, I'm so sorry.
It was, cocaine that was cut with fentanyl. And, they passed, unfortunately. And, I see all this, there's a fentanyl crisis, and I think a lot of it has to do with, the influx of drugs from the border. And that's another thing. That's another reason why I had my vote, was simply because of that. Honestly, I had a best friend in high school. His name was Carlos Gomez. He was on my soccer team. He got his girlfriend pregnant and got deported to Guatemala in 2016. Wow. Never seen him again. And that's kind of tough, but it's like, I understand the process is hard for people to get in here, the right way. And I have lots of friends that are illegals, and, we're close, especially in the soccer world. Like, I still play pickup and stuff with people that, they work their ass off, but they're unfortunately illegal. But yeah, I think the border policy the last 4 years has been kind of rough. And I think the influx of drugs is a huge factor as to why Trump got my vote, just because of his viewpoint on it.
Well, we'll leave it there. And I just one last thing I'll say is that I'm going to say F drug for TikTok reasons. F drug overdoses last year went down.
Okay.
So we're going in the right direction at least. So anyway, man, listen, Ryan, thank you for coming up. I appreciate the conversation. You're welcome to come back anytime and continue the conversation. But
some love, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one. All right.
Yep.
Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you in just a second. 1 second. Kate, thank you for the $5. If anyone brings up education policy, put me in, coach. A sad, terrified teacher. Kate, well, we love our teachers. Thank you for doing the work that you do. Trump, I think just today doubled down on wanting to get rid of the Department of Education, which funds a lot of special ed programs. It's like, why the fuck would we do that? It's really, really just mind-boggling. Benetta, thank you for the $2. I fear that I'm in love with you. Where can I find more men like you? Oh man, you're too kind. Again, pretty smooth. It took me by surprise. It just out of nowhere. Benetta, I appreciate you. Lexi, thank you for the $5. Can you answer this question? Why are so many votes not being counted for? Is Elon's interference with freedom of speech on X going to be acknowledged? Will there be a recount? There will not be a recount. Votes are still being counted right now. So it's not that votes have not been counted. They're still in the process of counting right now. And you're getting a lot of these updates from like House races where votes are still being counted. So patience. We'll get a final vote total pretty soon. And there will not be a recount. Amy, thank you for the $3. I truly never knew how uninformed American voters were until I started watching your debates. Pretty depressing stuff. Godspeed. It's tough. Tanner, thank you for the $1. Harry, my future president in 2068. I need either one of two things. I'd love to be a mod. I'm a mod for tons of other people, and I'm friends with Kicks. Or could you raid my friend's Pickle GGs tonight? Love you, bro. Tanner, let's get you a mod, and we could raid Pickles for sure. Let's get Tanner to be a mod. I know Tanner. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. We can definitely put him on the team. And Emma, thank you for the $1. All I got to say is you're fine. You're fine ASF, man. You guys are too kind, man. You guys are gassing me up tonight. Where is this coming from? I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. It means a lot. Emma, shout out you. Also, Venmo, Cash App, link in bio. Drop a follow if you haven't already. And double tap the screen. Let's try to get to 700,000 likes. All right, man. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right. Why'd you vote for Trump?
Yeah, I'll make this quick, man, because I got to go soon. Gotcha. But I'm not a fan of Trump. Never really was. I think he's definitely he's an a-hole, man. We can agree on that.
Damn right.
But I just haven't been satisfied with the way things have been going the last 4 years, and I've seen prices going up. My 401k is dipped. I'm a little bit older than you. I'm about 30. I'm from Georgia. My thing with Kamala was I never really knew much about her. You know, she's from California. We don't hear a lot about West Coast stuff out here. But I didn't like the fact that she was just kind of thrown in there when they made Biden tap out. I wasn't a fan of that. She just didn't seem very likable to me.
Would you have voted for Biden?
I would have. Yes, I would have voted for Biden.
Wait, so you voted for Trump? But if Biden were the nominee, you would have voted for Biden over Trump?
I just didn't know anything about Kamala, man. She just didn't seem that likable to me, and I didn't know anything about her, and it just seemed like it wasn't fair the way they just kind of threw her in there instead of the DNC taking the time to find a proper replacement for Biden.
I've not heard of a voter like you before. I've not heard of that.
I wasn't a big fan of Biden, but I didn't think he was a bad president.
Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, you know that like Kamala Harris would have done similar things to Joe Biden in terms of policy, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of that. But like I said, the last 4 years haven't been great. And I've seen hits to my finances, and I wanted to take a gamble to see if a Trump administration, even though I don't agree with him on everything, could make things better.
But you recognize that, like, well, hopefully, maybe we can agree on this, that like the inflation is not Biden's fault. Like, if Trump were in office while Biden, instead of Biden, inflation still would have gone up.
I don't blame the inflation on Biden at all. No, that wasn't his fault.
So then why would you use prices going up to vote for Trump?
Because I don't know Kamala, man. I don't know what her thing is. And like I said, I was a fan of Biden, but just economically, things just haven't been going that great. So maybe it was a time for a change, different policies.
But how do you feel about the fact, like, how do you feel about Trump's tariffs? So I was just talking about it with the gentleman before you, that like he wants to put broad tariffs, 10 to 20% on everything coming into the country, 60 to 100% on everything coming from China. And a lot of the things that you wear, you buy, you eat, you own are made in China. All that being way more expensive. Is that not like concerning for you?
Oh, yeah. I'm very iffy about the tariff thing. I've done a little bit of reading up on it. It doesn't sound like it would work, but I made a comment earlier. I said Trump's a bit of a showman. I feel like he just says things to trigger people. He doesn't mean these things.
But then why would you vote for that? Like, a showman should not be president. A showman can be entertaining. I don't think Trump's particularly entertaining. I think he's insane. But why would you want a showman to be president? And why would you want somebody to be president who says things but doesn't actually mean it when it comes to policy?
Man, you kind of got me there. I just want to see something different, man. I want to see what'll happen. And I keep seeing people comment that I can't pronounce her name right. I'm sorry.
It's Kamala.
It's Kamala.
Like imagine a comma in a sentence and just law after it. Comma, law.
Okay, Kamala. Yeah, I apologize. I wasn't meaning to be disrespectful.
Can I ask you a question? Does it have anything, and you can, feel free, does it have anything to do with her being a woman?
No, not at all. I have no issue with a woman in power. I mean, my boss is a woman. I have no issue with that. to me, she just wasn't very relatable. I didn't. I mean, you can smirk if you want. I just didn't find her relatable.
I'm smirking because Trump is like a billionaire who grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, who has a gold penthouse in New York City. You know what I mean? That's not relatable.
I know what you mean. I definitely, I'm no billionaire or millionaire, but I don't know. I just want to see something different. I want to see what can happen. I want you to understand the mindset of those of us that voted for Trump. I'm not a racist. I'm not a misogynist. No matter what the chat wants to say, I just wanted to see what given a different person an opportunity in the White House, what they could do.
Have you ever voted for a Democrat before?
I have for state offices, never for president.
Would you consider voting for a Democrat for president?
I would. Yeah, I definitely would. Because I consider myself pretty moderate, pretty middle of the road. I'm pro-choice, all that kind of stuff. But I just want to see something different, see what would happen.
You know what? I think if I would have talked to you before the election, it could have changed your mind, which makes me very sad. But all right, man. Well, hey, I know you. Sorry, go ahead.
I've never really seen your stuff before. I was just flipping through and I saw you, and I wanted to chime in.
Well, so I appreciate you chiming in. Definitely gave me a unique perspective into somebody. You know, I didn't vote for Trump, obviously, but so I appreciate you coming up and talking to me about this. This is interesting. Like, genuinely something I'll consider. So, thanks, man. I know you said you had to go. I don't want to take too much of your time. We can leave it there.
Thank you for your time, Harry. Good luck.
No problem. Thanks, man. You too. I don't think he's like that guy's not a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. You know what I mean? He's not a bad guy. Oh man, that's really painful. I genuinely don't think that is like I don't think he's a bad guy, right? I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to Tanner. Can you Killer? Can you pin one of Tanner's comments because I can't click on the at? You know what I mean? Yo, Shelly, thank you for the $5. Can you remind these blanks that Trump still owes $450 million, Egan Carroll $88 million, venues no pay? Yeah, exactly. She also didn't say a bad word. I just can't say it. Like she said idiots, but like I think on TikTok it might block it out. Yeah, 100% exactly. Yo, Tanner, thank you for the 50 cents. Mod me or I'll raid Chris's dorm like it's January 6th. Yo, can we get Tanner modded up in here? I mean, come on, bro. Let's get this guy. What did he say? Free Chris and still backwards, man, or something like that. Like this guy's funny, dude. Hold on, let me. I gotta remove a mod because I gotta remove a mod. We have too many. I'll remove this person. So sorry. You gotta go. Here we go. There we go. Tanner, add it to the mods. There we go. Let's go to Sam. Have you ever debated Deborah since the election? I don't actually remember my conversation with Deborah, if I'm being completely honest. But the fact that you do, Sam, and you asked me in particular, probably means that it wasn't a good conversation. So I trust your judgment, and I'll take a guess and say I haven't. I don't think I have. Listen, everybody, I'm going to wrap up the live there. I'm just... guys. I'll leave the lie there. I appreciate you guys coming up and watching. Every time you remove a mod, my heart drops. Allison, don't worry. I'm not going to remove you. Don't you worry, Allison. Guys, I appreciate you coming in the live tonight. It means a lot. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow. Sorry for the shorter live tonight. Just trying to... I keep going to bed at like 5:30 in the morning, so I'm trying to get off live a little bit earlier, or at least start a little bit earlier, so I can like go to the gym, because I go to gym at like 12:31, and like finish up earlier and go to bed earlier. Trying to like fix the schedule a little bit. So that's why, like, by the way, if you follow me on Snapchat, that's why you see me posting at like 3 a.m. on Snapchat in the gym, and people like slide up. They're like, "What are you doing?" I don't know. I don't have an answer to the question. Liam, thank you for the $10. What do you think about Cascade? I don't even know what it's California, Oregon, Washington splitting off. That's a terrible idea. It's also not constitutional. Final persistent reminder. Allison, isn't this you? Like, aren't you one of my mods? I feel like Allison's one of my mods. That's cool. Anyway, ladies, gents, boys, and girls, everybody in between, we're going to wrap it up there. Make sure to drop a follow here if you don't already. Also follow on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Snapchat, and of course, TikTok. All of those links are in my bio, and I have the same username across all platforms, Harry J. Sisson. So if it's Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, you can look up Harry J. Sisson. You'll find my account. And of course, raid Pickles GG. That was a specific request from my man Tanner. So go raid Pickles GG. Let them know we sent you guys, and that we appreciate the work they're doing to fight for democracy and all that amazing stuff. And listen, everybody, tomorrow is Tuesday. It's still the beginning of the week. I hope you're having a great beginning of your week. Make sure to power through. And I hope you have something exciting tomorrow. Hope you have something you're looking forward to. And if you don't have anything you're looking forward to, that's okay. Continue to power through. Brighter days are ahead. And I want you to understand that brighter days are ahead. We're all feeling it right now, but we got to keep motivated. We got to keep hopeful, because if we fall into cynicism, nothing gets done. Nothing's ever gotten done from the couch, ladies and gentlemen. We have to get up, roll up our sleeves, and get out there. Or at least, do whatever your part is. Remember, having a voice on social media, having a voice in your family, having a voice in your community, no matter how big and small, is important and contributes. So I hope you remember that, and remember your part is important.